quite like a spring afternoon here, and there's a smell of smoke in the air as well. Protests going on outside the ground today against the owners, against the Glazers family. There's a banner in the stand that I can just see being unfurled to my left. Love United, hate Glazers. So there's loads and loads of Manchester United fans still making their way into the ground. And in fact, many of them will be staying outside Old Trafford until the 18th minute. That's to signify the 18 years that the Glazer family has been in charge here at Manchester United. So we'll talk more about that in a moment. I will be joined shortly by Curtis Davis, former Aston Villa and Leicester player with Derby County at the moment, of course, but because of the protests happening outside Old Trafford at the moment, he's struggling to make his way in, but he will be joining us shortly. So that for the time being, you just got me for company here on 5 Sports Extra, but we are just a couple of minutes away from kick-off here between Manchester United and Aston Villa. The players are lining up in the tunnel to my left. You can hear the familiar pre-sounds, pre-music here at Old Trafford as the rain continues to fall. The floodlights are in fact on. Now on the pitch, Old Trafford has been a place which really does feel like home for Manchester United this season. They have the best run, in fact, at home in the Premier League of any team this season. Unbeaten here in the Premier League since the opening weekend of the season. But Aston Villa themselves on an incredible run under Unai Emery as the players come out to the pitch. I'll just pause here so you can hear the reception as both sets of players walk out now onto the Old Trafford pitch. Aston Villa unbeaten in 10 and targeting European football as well. Qualification for the European Champions League, Unai Emery says, is beyond his team, but they are targeting a strong finish this season and European football next season. Let's just take you through the teams then. Real consistency from Aston Villa. A couple of changes from Manchester United from the team that were leading 2-0 against Tottenham at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Thursday night, but allowed Tottenham back into that game in the second half. So 2 changes from that starting 11 for Manchester United. They start with De Gea in goal, then a back 4 of Dalot, Lindelof, Shaw and Malacia. Malacia, one of the players coming in today for Manchester United. Casemiro and Eriksen as the holding sort of 2 midfield players in front of them, and then we've got Sancho, Sabitzer, the other change for Manchester United today. The captain Bruno Fernandes behind Rashford up top. So the 2 players to drop out for Manchester United today, both on the bench for them, that's Anthony and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. For Aston Villa, it's all about consistency at the moment. Great results for them, unbeaten in 10 in the Premier League. That's a brilliant run of form for them under Unai Emery, and he names the same 11 as he's lined up for the last 4 games for Aston Villa. So I'll run you through their starting 11, but it will sound very familiar to what we've seen from Villa over the last couple of weeks. Martinez in goal, then a back 4 of Young, Konza, Mings, Marino, Dendoncker and Louise in front of them, with John McGinn, captain, Buendia and Ramsey behind Watkins. So I guess today this is all about the battle between those front 2 strikers of both these sides. Rashford in very good form, of course, Watkins as well. Both their sides top scorer. Ollie Watkins with 15 goals in all competitions and 35 appearances this season. Marcus Rashford with 29 in 50 in all competitions for Manchester United. So both forwards, both strikers for Manchester United and Aston Villa in fantastic form at the moment. The players just going through their pre-match routine, handshakes, a huddle from the Manchester United players. They're all just getting into a team huddle on their side of the pitch. Not yet clear which way they will be attacking this first half. There's a great reception as well for Erik ten Hag, the Manchester United manager, marching really along the touchline in front of us from the tunnel to our left and making his place in the Manchester United dugout as all the sort of Premier League pre-match memorabilia, banners, flags that are always stretched out across the turf ahead of Premier League games are just tidied away by the officials here, and we're just waiting to get underway. Bruno Fernandes, captain for Manchester United today, is just lining up in the centre circle. John McGinn as well, as they're just going to undertake the coin toss here to decide which end both sides will be attacking this first half. Worth mentioning as well that Harry Maguire, Manchester United's club captain, and of course much speculation continues about his form. More reports this week that perhaps his future will lie away from Old Trafford, particularly with England's European Championship campaign on the horizon. next summer, Germany in 2024. He might perhaps be on the move in search of more regular first-team football. He is named on the bench for Manchester United this afternoon, Harry Maguire. He isn't fully fit, but he is happy to be named on the bench, reportedly, in case of emergency for Manchester United. The players are now lining up, ready to get underway, and indeed we now are. So Manchester United against Aston Villa here on 5 Sports Extra. I promise you at some point we will be joined by Derby County defender Curtis Davis with us here on 5 Sports Extra. He's just making his way through the crowds outside because, as I mentioned, there are protests going on outside the ground. Manchester United fans protesting against the Glazers' ownership, and they are going to remain outside until the 18th minute to signify 18 years of ownership by the Glazer family of Manchester United. But just looking around the stands around us here, it does seem pretty full. So I wonder how many fans are actually staying out in that gesture of protest, and how many have opted to actually come in and watch the opening stages of this match here between Manchester United and Aston Villa. So 0-0. Reminder of the lineups in a couple of minutes for you. Aston Villa are going to be attacking from right to left as I watch here, so towards the Stretford end in this first half. So Manchester United defending that Stretford end, and Aston Villa on the ball at the moment. It's out now on this left-hand side with Moreno. He's feeding it now into the edge of the area. Villa a couple of yards outside Manchester United's area now, opting to switch it more centrally. And now it's back with Mings in the centre circle. So Villa with plenty of possession on the ball in the early stages here. They are all in their claret shorts and socks and light blue tops, so the familiar colours of home colours really of Aston Villa. Manchester United in their very familiar home strip with the red jerseys with the white trim, white shorts and black socks. It's back with Emi Martinez at the moment in the Aston Villa goal. Out again with Moreno on this left-hand side. Villa in their own half, but trying to play it out from the back. And Casemiro there, you can hear that tackle being applauded by the Old Trafford fans as he wins a throw-in for his Manchester United team. Midway through Aston Villa's half, just on this near side touchline. 0-0 in the early stages. 2.5 minutes on the clock here in 5 Sports Extra. Manchester United against Aston Villa. This is all about which teams are going to finish where in the race for European places. Who's going to finish in the top 4? Who's going to finish in Europa League, Conference League places at the moment? Aston Villa really doing so well with their form to stay on course for European football next season. Manchester United on the ball in their own half. It's with Casemiro, distributes it out now to the left-hand side with Malacia. Manchester United in their own half. The rain has eased a little bit. Still drizzling slightly though here at Old Trafford. Erik ten Hag standing on the touchline, motionless at the moment. Long ball over the top from Manchester United. That's targeting Bruno Fernandes. And Moreno shepherds that out for a throw, which Bruno Fernandes takes quickly. Sabitzer battling with Mings. And that goes out again for another Manchester United throw-in. A couple of yards outside the dead ball line on this near side touchline, which Bruno Fernandes is going to take. So no real chances yet. Couple of minutes only in here at Old Trafford. Manchester United in possession at the moment. Bruno Fernandes throws it to Dalot. Rashford's in there as well. Back now with Luke Shaw. All of Manchester United's outfield players in the Villa half. Back with Shaw again. Now he sends it out to the left-hand side. Manchester United working it down that left-hand touchline. And the offside flag goes up, and that will indeed be a Aston Villa free kick deep in their own half. So 0-0, 4 minutes in here on 5 Sports Extra. And it's going to be a free kick which Emi Martinez is going to take in his own area. All in bright orange strip. The Aston Villa keeper today. Luminous orange kit, sends the ball forward. Lassie's battling there with John McGinn, and Manchester United regain possession in their own half. Casemiro sends it out on this right-hand side to Dalot. Back to Lindelof. Both sides still just finding themselves and each other out in the early stages here. McGinn's charging down for the ball on the far side. And Manchester United are forced back into their own half again with Lindelof. 4.5 minutes played here on 5 Sports Extra. Reminder, as we say, Harry Maguire on the bench for Manchester United today, because that makeshift central defensive pairing really for United, following their injuries, of course, at the back, is looking quite good at the moment for them. Luke Shaw being asked to play in a slightly different role. Long ball over the top from him there, which was easily gathered by Martinez at his feet. But that partnership between Shaw and Lindelof is one that obviously Erik ten Hag is opting for, with Maguire only on the bench, although not fully fit as well, the Manchester United club captain. Luke Shaw is forced all the way back into his own area with the ball. De Gea feeds it out now to the right-hand side. Good pressure there from Ollie Watkins. Man in really, really good form at the moment for Aston Villa. And Sancho on the far side is in a bit of a battle there with John McGinn and Ashley Young, and in the end the throw-in will be taken on the far side by Aston Villa, just inside their own half. So 6 minutes on the clock at the moment. A reminder as well, there are plenty of other 2 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League today, and you can keep across all of those with us here on the BBC. Manchester City have already taken an early lead at Fulham. That's on 5 Live with John and Murray and Glenn Murray, the Murray brothers. Manchester City taking an early lead there, and that of course moves them top of the table as it stands, ahead of Arsenal, who don't have a chance to respond to that result as it stands for Manchester City until Tuesday. So Fulham 0, Manchester United 1. It's 0-0 here between Manchester United and Aston Villa. 0-0 as well in the games between Newcastle and Southampton, and Bournemouth and Leeds. And you can hear both of those 2 games. Full commentary of them is on BBC Sport Online. Access that via the BBC Sport website, and of course BBC Sounds as well. Haven't missed very much here. Again, Manchester United just kind of testing and probing a little bit going forward, but the ball from the left over the top is headed back by Marino, and now Aston Villa are going on the attack now through Ramsey. He's tracked there by Casemiro. Good bit of work there from Manchester United. Ran to win the ball, and Rashford is through on goal here, just wide of the right-hand post. And now the offside flag does go off on this near-hand side, but Rashford trying to beat the offside trap there. The ball through the middle, Casemiro picking up possession, Sabitzer, and then feeding in Marcus Rashford. And he just fired wide of the right-hand post, but that would not have counted because he was just marginally offside. Mings' arm going up there as Aston Villa were trying to play that offside trap there. But again, the pace of Marcus Rashford, as we've seen so often this season, so impressive there in the first real moment of this. And John McGinn is just down on the far-hand side. He's collided with the pitch-side hoardings, I think, the Aston Villa captain. He's just gingerly getting back up to his feet, but he's made a stern stuff, John McGinn, so I'm sure he will be back on the field very shortly. 8 minutes played here on 5 Sports Extra. Still 0-0 in this game. And we've got 2 sides here. Well, in Aston Villa in particular, a side full of confidence at the moment, and a great run under Unai Emery. And I'm sure when we are eventually joined by Curtis Davis, that we will talk a little bit about the job that Unai Emery has done at Villa, because it really is a remarkable one since he took over just before the World Cup. His first game in charge, in fact, if you remember, was a win in this reverse fixture in the league. That was 3-1, they won that back at the end of last year. So Aston Villa looking to do the league double over Manchester United for the first time since 1955. So plenty of motivation for their players and full of confidence at the moment, I'm certain. Long ball over the top from Eriksen. That's picked up there by Sancho and then shepherded back. And good work there from Ashley Young to clear it back to Martinez. He fires it out of his goal quickly. Luiz now in the centre circle, out on this left-hand side to Marino. Ball's too heavy there, and it will go out for a Manchester United throw just in front of Erik ten Hag. Unai Emery applauding and clapping and jumping around in his technical area as Luiz is back again, sending the ball to Emi Martinez. And Watkins jumps up to head that back into the Manchester United half, but gathered by Lindelof. And always growing a little bit of frustration, I think, from the Manchester United fans. Plenty of possession in the early stages, but just that one burst forward in the end, though, wouldn't have counted. Marcus Rashford was in an offside position, but he's offside here as well, and he raises his right arm in apology. There was a ball fed over the top from Bruno Fernandes there, but he knew instantly, the Manchester United number 10, that he wasn't in offside position, and raises his right hand in apology. So Villa are going to take this free kick. It's going to be Martinez again, just the edge of his area. He feeds it out to the right to Konza. Now it's with Young, former United player, of course. Long ball down the line there. That's for Watkins to run after. He's in a foot race with Lindelof, and back with De Gea in the United goal. Now out on this right-hand side as Manchester United attack in this first half from left to right as I watch here. Fed more centrally now to Sabitzer, and that was a ball over the top from Sabitzer. I think he was expecting perhaps Bruno Fernandes to run onto that, but the Manchester United number 8 did not, and it's back with Mings in the centre of that Aston Villa defence. 11 minutes played here at Old Trafford. Still goalless here in this game. Manchester City leading at Fulham in a game all important at the top of the title race. Pep Guardiola's men moving top of the table as it stands, and both these sides looking to consolidate here at Old Trafford their places in the table for European football next season. Villa lose out possession on the far side. Now it's with Rashford, feeding it forward to Sabitzer. Down on the left-hand side now with Fred. Manchester United moving forward now. Eriksen more centrally now to Casemiro. Back again with Malacia. Right on that left-hand side of the area with Fernandes. Fed into Rashford, just blocked by Martinez. He took the shot on Marcus Rashford, who got the ball to his feet just 5 yards or so out, tight angle on the left of the 6-yard box, and Martinez very quick to get to him before he really had a lot of time to get a lot of power behind that shot. So it will be a Manchester United corner. 12 minutes in here, and that perhaps the best opportunity of this first half. Corner here from the left. It's going to be Christian Eriksen that's going to take that on the far side. So from the left is Manchester United attacking this first half. 12.5 minutes on the clock. Raises his right arm. Ball comes in over the top onto the far side. Rashford heads up for it. Picked up by Bruno Fernandes. Partially cleared by Villa. They get it out now. Marino's chasing after this. Malacia is the player back. Feeds it all the way back to David De Gea in the Manchester United goal. So still no goals yet here. A couple of warning signs perhaps for Aston Villa. Not a lot of opportunities yet for Ollie Watkins as he watches Manchester United's defence pass the ball around their own half amongst themselves at the moment. Since as United try long ball over the top there again, Marcus Rashford was running onto that. Emi Martinez comes out to try and clear it, and then Tyrone Mings has to feed it out again on the far side as Manchester United tried to get the ball back in quickly when Martinez was off his line. They take the throw in quickly, Manchester United. Casemiro feeding the ball through to Sabitzer and headed just over the crossbar. The shot came in for Sabitzer from the left. I think Mings did enough just to put him off. And again, some really good work at pace there. Quick work from Manchester United. That probably the best chance we've had in this game so far. 13.5 minutes on the clock here on 5 Sports Extra. Goal kick for Aston Villa. Yeah, just looking at the replay there, Mings just doing enough to put Sabitzer off, and Martinez, I think, might have tried to get a touch to it, but it is a goal kick which he takes. And now it's with Young again out on the far side. McGinn, haven't seen much from him yet. He's brought down, and that is a Aston Villa free kick. Malacia not at all happy with that decision from the referee, Jared Gillett. So it's going to be a free kick for Aston Villa in their own half. This is BBC 5 Sports Extra. 0-0 here between Manchester United and Aston Villa. Long ball over the top from Tyrone Mings. That was targeting Ollie Watson. He's dispossessed, though, by Manchester United, and it's with Lindelof and Malacia on the far side, and now back with David De Gea. The best chances coming in this game so far, all at the end to my right for Manchester United. A Rashford chance, which Martinez was very quick off his line to gather, as the long ball over the top now here for Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes feeding it across the goal from the right. And if Sabitzer had got on the end of that, that would have been a really good opportunity for United, and will have had Martinez scrambling as it is. It goes out for a goal kick. But again, Manchester United showing plenty of pace on the counter there. And more warning signs for Aston Villa in this game here at Old Trafford. We are coming up to 15 minutes on the clock here, so another 3 minutes before this protest that was planned ahead of kick-off here at Old Trafford today. Fans unhappy with the ownership of the Glazer family. Obviously more bids have gone in this week to try and take ownership of the club, but there's protests, gesture of spending the first 18 minutes outside the ground in recognition of the 18 years that the Glazers have been in charge here at Old Trafford. So we might see more fans filing in the next 2.5 minutes or so. In truth, the stand's pretty full anyway. I'm sure the weather hasn't helped in persuading people perhaps to stay outside, because it is still raining, as it has been for several hours here in Manchester. But that is one that we will keep an eye on here. Aston Villa on the ball in the centre of the field at the moment. Mings back with Dendoncker now in the centre circle. He switches play out to the right-hand side. Buendia, then Young, and then back all the way to Mings again, and back with Martinez. Bruno Fernandes making the run forward, trying to pressure the Aston Villa number one. He sends it out to the right-hand side, and he loses out on that. And Manchester United have possession again on the far side, and Jadon Sancho wins a throw-in for his team just on the far side. Fulham have equalised in that game on 5 Live between the champions Manchester City and Fulham. So Fulham 1, Manchester City 1 at Craven Cottage. Hear that game on 5 Live Sport right now. Here at Old Trafford, Aston Villa on the ball at the moment. Moreno over the halfway line now. Ramsey, Casemiro with the tackle there, wanting to win that throw-in, and does so for his team, and the Old Trafford crowd really appreciate that one. Casemiro now on the ball. He receives the throw-in. Back with Luke Shaw on the far side. Now Malacia down the left for Manchester United. Still in their own half, but again trying to build patiently from the back. Lindelof and Dallo again on this right-hand side. Back with Shaw. Still goalless here on 5 Sports Extra. This match all about the battle of where the European places might end up next season. Villa in 6th before kick-off. Manchester United in 4th. And trying to get forward there down the left-hand side. Christian Eriksen's in offside position, and that will be an Aston Villa free kick. So we're coming up to 18 minutes on the clock now. I'm just keeping an eye to see there are some Manchester United fans going to be filing in shortly, I think. Plenty of protests, a couple of thousand, I think, outside Old Trafford, certainly delaying our co-commentator Curtis Davis, who is hopefully going to be making his way up to the gantry here to join me alongside us here on 5 Sports Extra at Old Trafford. He hasn't missed an awful lot yet. No real opportunities yet. Spitzer's shot over the crossbar, probably the closest that either side have come in the opening 18.5 minutes here. Manchester United on the ball at the moment. Lindelof in the United half, out with Bruno Fernandes as the near side touchline. Now Casemiro distributes his left, picked up there by Sancho, and Manchester United in offside position, and Aston Villa take the free kick quickly, trying to catch Manchester United off guard. John McGinn at the moment on the far side. Now he moves more centrally. Now it's to the feet of Ramsey, feeding it there into Buendia, right hand edge of the area, feeding it more centrally, and Watkins says he was brought down there, and the Moreno shot's blocked. And Watkins, as he tried to get on the end of that ball just across the face of goal from Buendia, says he was brought down there. And then Moreno on the follow-up, his shot blocked with so many bodies on the line. Just having another look at it here. Buendia has the ball a couple of yards out. Watkins trying to get in there. He collides with Dallo, who I think is just trying to get the ball there. And I think that chair will tell you Michael Oliver on VAR duty has looked at that and said no penalty. So it will be a Aston Villa corner after that Moreno shot was blocked on the goal line. It's going to be taken from this left-hand side by Luiz. Raises his left arm. Corner comes in swinger, heads go up, partially cleared by United, picked up edge of the D by John McGinn, fires it in and wide of the right-hand post. And that couple of minutes of play, they're probably the best play we've seen from Aston Villa at the moment going forward as well. They're actually on an incredible run under Unai Emery in the Premier League, Aston Villa. They've scored in all 20 Premier League games since Unai Emery has been in charge, starting, of course, with this reverse fixture as Manchester United take the goal kick short. It's with Dalot on this near side touchline now, with Casemiro pulling all the strings in that midfield for Manchester United this season, and doing so again so far today. Bruno Fernandes out the right, Lombard over the top for Rashford, and Martinez very quick outside his area, 20 yards or so out, heading that out for a throw-in on this near side touchline, which Fernandes takes quickly. Back to the feed of Dalot. Manchester United feeding back to Lindelof, and now Shaw in the centre circle. Yeah, Aston Villa have scored in every game in the Premier League that Unai Emery has been in charge, all 20 of them. That's some run. No run in history. It's the longest streak from the start of a manager's tenure in history in the Premier League. Villa scoring in all 20 goals that he's been in charge. So if there wasn't enough motivation already from them today to try and score a goal today, certainly targeting Europe as well. And they're going on the attack again here now. Moreno just being shepherded out of that one by Bruno Fernandes, and Ramsey picking that up on this near side touchline as Aston Villa try to play up from the back. I'm delighted to say Curtis Davis has joined us here on Sports Extra. Hello, Curtis.
Yes, finally I'm through.
In a moment, when we just get over this little passage of play here, as Ramsey is brought down by Casemiro. It's going to be a free kick for Aston Villa in their own half. What were the protests like outside the ground? Because obviously that delayed sort of you getting in a bit. How many thousands out there, do you think? It
was the whole tunnel, the whole of the Munich tunnel, obviously trying to get to the media centre, and there must have been about over 1,000 people trying to squeeze between them, and then you get to the gate and it's locked because people are smashing on it like it's a riot. But yeah, I'm here now. I'm looking forward to the 17 or so minutes I've got left, and hopefully it's a good game. So we'll discuss a little about some of the team news in a bit. You haven't missed too much. It's been a couple of decent opportunities for Manchester United. I was fortunate enough to watch it on the TV whilst looking through that gate. So I've been watching, and I saw Rashford's chance. And Rashford's chance for Sabitzer as well, just over the crossbar. Decent set-piece opportunity for Villa at the other end, with McGinn just firing right at the right-hand post. But it does feel, after maybe perhaps just finding each other out in the early stages here, that Manchester United is just building a bit of momentum in this game now. Casemiro, long ball over the top, is targeting Rashford, and Manchester United players at the edge of the area, and Martinez gets it clear. So a couple of changes for Manchester United today, Curtis. Sabitzer and Malacia coming in, and as Eriksen's on the ball on the far side, essentially now to Rashford, and then Sancho goes down. No penalty, says the referee. And Villa get that one clear, and it goes out into Manchester United's half. Definitely not a penalty. He obviously goes into the box and he goes shoulder to shoulder, and I think it's Young just gets ahead of him, so he almost falls over Young's heels. So definitely not a penalty. But since I've been in Manchester United, I've been on the front foot. Yeah, Manchester United building into this now. 20 minutes or so to go to half time, as Curtis says, here on 5 Sports Extra. Good chances, better chances in this game for Manchester United so far in this match here at Old Trafford. Bournemouth have just taken the lead against Leeds. Huge game that at the bottom of the Premier League table. Bournemouth 1, Leeds 0. Still Fulham 1, Manchester City 1. 0-0 here, as I say, and 0-0 between Newcastle and Southampton. Fulham, Manchester City over on 5 Live. And the 2 other games available to listen via the BBC Sport website. Buendia's on the ball at the moment for Aston Villa. Young sends it forward now to Watkins. He's been kept quite quiet. He's an offside position. That would be Manchester United.
free kick. Curtis has been saying that obviously Ollie Watkins is a player in brilliant form at the moment, and as a defender, you know, what are you seeing from him at the moment that makes him so difficult to play against?
I think what I'm seeing from him as an individual is he's being more selfish. I think Unai Emery says to him, I want you to stay up and stay between the two centre-halves, or if it's a three, right up against them, to make them work and make them know that you're there. And he lets the other players around him, the Buendias, the McGinns, the Ramseys, they can do the work to get him the goals. So if he's in the right position, he'll be able to score the goals. And he's done so far this season. But I think against this back four, I think he'll be licking his lips a bit, because recently they haven't been in good form. They've looked a little bit soft, a little bit like they've got a bit of a soft underbelly, even in the 2-0 against when they were 2-0 up against Spurs recently, and he'll hope to get some opportunities today. Jadon
Sancho on the ball at the moment, forced more centrally by Aston Villa, now out with Dalot. Manchester United in Villa's half. Bruno Fernandes' shot blocks off Moreno for a throw-in on this near side touchline. Yet it is a bit of a makeshift Manchester United defence. Certainly that centre-back pairing of Shaw and Lindelof, as long ball over the top from Manchester United, headed partially clear by Aston Villa. Luiz sends it forward, and then Lindelof and Shaw combining to make sure Watkins isn't able to get on the end of that one. I mean, that was a good bit of play from those two there, but it is a makeshift centre-back pairing, isn't it?
It is, but at the same time, you know, I know Lindelof maybe wasn't playing at the same time it was Martinez, but Luke Shaw has played centre-half probably more than Harry Maguire this year, so you just hope, obviously they're all top quality players, top internationals, but when you put four players together that haven't played together for a while, that's the issue. And I think when you've had defensive problems like the Sevilla game, the way they conceded goals in that game, in the 2-2, and then in the 3-0, you know, everyone's feeling a little bit, trying to be a bit more safe maybe as a defender, and it's going to make Manchester United a different prospect when it goes to getting forward from the back.
And Shaw has sent it forward over the top now for Rashford. He's just on the ball now, just making the run to the edge of the area. Goes down. No foul, says the referee. Villa pick it up. Header up there by John McGinn, but picked up again by Casemiro. Really good work in that Manchester United midfield. And they have possession. Again, Manchester United.
Villa really struggling to get hold of the ball. It's difficult because they've got Watkins, as I said, trying to keep the two centre-halves back, and he's occupying them. But as soon as they win it, they're putting it up there, and that's Buendia trying to win a header, you know, in the middle of the park. It's very difficult for him.
Manchester United going the attack again down the left-hand side. Sancho again has been trapped by Young. Now Casemiro, and the shot hits the crossbar there. Down. Bruno Fernandes in an offside position, and another chance for Villa to breathe. Very close that to the opener.
Sancho does really well because he just draws Ashley Young in, takes him towards the byline, and then just chops it back to Casemiro. Takes a good touch, about 10 yards out, 12 yards out, smashes it with his right foot, hits the bar, but Bruno's off with a rebound. But that's Manchester United. It seems at the moment that they're just waiting to score. Rashford got in easily over the top. Sancho did really well as well just then. So Manchester United at the moment seem very good and seem to have put those demons to bed from the 2-2 against Tottenham.
That's the voice of Curtis Davis, Derby County defender, former Aston Villa and Leicester player as well, with us here on 5 Sports Extra. Coming up to 28 minutes on the clock here at Old Trafford, and certainly United have really seized control of this game in the last 10 minutes or so. And then loose ball again picked up by Sabitzer. Now Rashford making the run into the area. Sancho there as well, and I think Young... Well, it's Ramsey, who goes down there quite easily, perhaps, just making sure that Manchester United attack didn't come to anything there.
It was, yes. Tyrone Mings has just switched off for a second there. He's tried to play the ball to Luiz. It's been cut out by Sabitzer. Sabitzer drove in. Rashford just a little bit too long for Sancho, and Konza's done really well. Been fantastic this year, Konza. Him and Mings have had a great partnership, particularly under Unai Emery, and he showed why he's so good. And, you know, he's still... When we talk about centre-halves and playing for England and stuff like that, he's always been overlooked. And, I think soon, hopefully, he'll get his chance.
Yeah, at the moment, obviously, Villa on this incredible run in the Premier League at the moment. And Tyrone Mings maybe showing just the kind of form to make Gareth Southgate think about things heading into the Euros next year, of course. But Villa have lost possession again in the half. Nice, incisive ball through the middle from Eriksen, though, which just goes through everybody straight to the feet of Emily Martinez in the Aston Villa goal. So the two changes so far today for Manchester United, Malacia and Sabitzer. I mean, Sabitzer's been very busy, obviously been in pretty decent form, and Erik ten Hag opting to bring him in today. Villa unchanged, though, for the 4th game in a row, just showing, I guess, how consistent they have been over the last couple of weeks in the Premier League. But they've lost possession again, Villa. Dalot, centre of the Villa half, switches it back to Luke Shaw. All of Manchester United players in the Aston Villa half as the rain continues to team around us here at Old Trafford. Does not feel like a spring Sunday bank holiday afternoon, that's for sure, I can tell you, at the moment in Manchester. Buendia has now picked up the ball. Aston Villa sending it down the right there, but slipped there by Buendia, and Luiz then trying to pick up possession, gives away the free kick, and it will be a Manchester United set piece.
That was unlucky there, because Buendia, that's the type of position he wants to get into. He was in the pocket, just behind the midfielders, but in front of the defenders. Went to turn, slipped, but that's the first time Villa have put 4 or 5 passes together, and they're going to look dangerous on the break, because every time you see United, they've got everyone in the opposition half. They've usually got about 5 or 6 ahead of the ball. So if Villa are able to break with Watkins and his pace and his strength, they'll be a dangerous prospect. But that's the first time, as I said, that they've put 4 or 5 passes together.
What have you made of the job that Unai Emery's done? You know, where we think about where Villa were when he took over just before the World Cup and where they are now, competing for European football. It's remarkable, really, isn't it? It's
incredible, because I think as he took over Villa, he thought, you know, experienced manager, been there, done it. Actually, obviously, has been to the Premier League with Arsenal as well. So I thought he would improve them, you know, and I thought, you know, get them to maybe mid-table-ish this year, and then maybe try and build on that next year. The fact that they're now sitting in 6th place and pushing for a potential Champions League place is, you know, you never would have in a million years bet on that. So you look at the record, he's got the best record this calendar year as a manager in the league. So I know it's a bit distorted because a few teams have played less, but you know, it's still a great thing to have. And from what I hear about him in the changing rooms is that he's just methodical, eats, sleeps and breathes it. You know, I think Ashley Young said the other day he's not sure if he even sleeps. So he is one of those guys that puts everything into it, and you can see the fruits of it with this Aston Villa team.
And Moreno's picked up possession for Villa in the United half, puts it through the legs of Casemiro, but then Sabitzer and Lindelof getting the ball back for United and sending it forward, but again it's picked up by Young. Just as Curtis was saying, very experienced player now for Aston Villa, and Moreno has it on this left-hand side. Swings the ball into the edge of the area for Villa. Partially cleared again by United, picked up by Rashford in his own half, sends it forward now to Bruno Fernandes down this right-hand side. But Tyrone Mings shepherds that one back quite confidently to his keeper Martinez, and he's back on with the ball at his feet at the moment now. Villa just kind of riding that bit of Manchester United pressure quite well there and backing it. It is 10 games unbeaten for Aston Villa in the Premier League this season. That's their best run in the division for 12 years. So, as Curtis was underlining there, the job that Unai Emery has done has been fantastic at Villa Park. But United have possession again in Villa's half. Casemiro sweeping the ball into the area, headed clear by Young, and then Konza preventing the ball going out for a corner, and it's all the way back out with Luke Shaw deep on the left-hand side.
They've got a very solid structure. They're in a low block at the moment of a 4-4-2 with Buendia supporting Watkins in the higher part of the press, but it is stopping them from getting forward. You know, when they are winning it back, it's fair enough if they're here for a 0-0, but when they are winning it back, they're just not getting enough men around the ball, and it's very difficult for them.
Sabitzer feeding in Malacia on the left, and Manchester United claiming a handball here. Let's have a look at this as the ball comes off, I think. Hard to know which Aston Villa player. Malacia and Sabitzer were claiming handball off there, and the referee Jared Gillett's just obviously having a word with Michael Oliver, who's the VAR official today, in his ear. I think that comes off Ashley Young's chest rather than his arm. What did you make of that, Curtis?
Yeah, I think it might have hit a part of his arm, but you know, if that's given nowadays, even with VAR, that is so harsh, because he's literally running back, he's going towards the ball goes outside, so he has no reason to handball it when it's going outside him.
And there's a certain amount of arm movement that when you are twisting and turning in the box, you're going to get, aren't you? So
yeah, players can't run without their arms. They'd look a bit silly if they're all just running into the box with no arms. So you know, I think the decisions nowadays, there's certain penalties that you look at and you say, that's a penalty for sure. And there's other penalties you'll look at and say, that's a VAR penalty. Even for VAR, that wasn't a penalty.
I'm thinking of one on Wednesday night. I was at the City ground and Lewis dunks hand in the air for the second Forest. That was definitely a penalty.
Yeah, it didn't need as long as it did with VAR. I really don't understand. That one, he is clearly extended his hand above his head. He's already 6'5" as it is. His arm was about 7 foot. So it was definite penalty.
Aston Villa are able to get the ball away from their own half now. Manchester United just with it on the halfway line. Good bit of pressure there, sustained pressure by Manchester United. Still no goals here. Equaliser at Bournemouth, by the way. Bournemouth 1, Leeds 1 there. 1-1 still between Fulham and Manchester City, as Watkins is free there, and now Buendia has the ball and speeding in. John McGinn on the left, and good tackle there from Malacia comes in. Ramsey's now picked up possession just a couple of yards outside the dead ball line, feeding it back now. Moreno now with Luiz. Is he going to get the cross in? No, he's dispossessed there by Casemiro. The home fans like that one. Really good work there from the number 18.
Yeah, it was great work. Malacia made a great tackle to recover, but it's there. Just Villa just got on the press, managed to win a couple of balls. Dallo tried to make a tackle, missed it. Shaw made a really good tackle, but the ball stopped, and that's what allowed Buendia just to play a nice through ball, but great recovery from Malacia.
Long ball over the top for Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes was trying to run onto it. It's cleared by Martinez. Picked up there again by Aston Villa in the centre circle with Luiz, and now it's switched out to this left-hand side with Moreno. John McGinn and others making the run forward. Watkins pointing where he wants it, edge of the area. Now it's Ramsey headed, cleared by Shaw, and then an acrobatic effort there from Watkins was always going high and wide.
Yeah, Villa seem to have stepped it up just from that one attack. They now look on the front foot, but I don't know how Ramsey can get that space in the box. It's a very easy ball from Moreno. The ball gets played out wide from John McGinn. He plays it wide to Moreno. Moreno steps into about 15 yards of space. He then has two defenders in front of him, plays it between them, and Ramsey's able to turn in the box. He gets his shot off, it gets looped up, but Watkins tries the acrobatic overhead kick, but he is offside.
We've just got a slight pause here. Watkins just getting back up to his feet. He's just winded himself more than anything, and he hit the turf after that kind of acrobatic over sort of scissor kick effort that he just tried there. So
he's okay. He's young enough to recover. At my age, you don't get back up from them ones.
David De Gea's taking his time to take this goal kick. Manchester City have taken the lead again at Fulham, by the way. Fulham 1, Manchester City 2. That's live over on 5 Live Sport right now. Bournemouth 1, Leeds 1. Newcastle 0, Southampton 0. Both those commentaries available online via the BBC Sport app. Manchester United on the ball down the left-hand side. Good work, though, by Villa to pick up possession, but they lose out again, and Eriksen has it. United with possession on the left. Ball forward by Christian Eriksen, though. Goes through everybody and out for a goal kick for Aston Villa.
Yeah, Eriksen obviously a very good footballer and can find those passes, but Manchester United just need to be a little bit more patient at times. They just won the ball back from Dendoncker again, and I know Fernandes and Rashford were running forward, but it was very, very difficult pass. It's almost a straight pass, and Martinez was ready to pounce if it did get through, but it was way too long in the end anyway.
7 minutes to go to half-time plus stoppage time here on 5 Sports Extra. Still goalless here. Best chances, probably Manchester United chances. A Rashford chance, it's a Bitzer shot over the crossbar. Marcus Rashford's running in space again. He's got the ball, the edge of his feet, edge of the area, fires it in. It's blocked by Martinez, and then the rebound's picked up by Bruno Fernandes, and it's into the back of the net, and Manchester United are ahead. The ball might have taken a slight deflection off an Aston Villa defender, but it goes into the back of the net, and Bruno Fernandes runs to the corner flag to celebrate with the Manchester United fans, and Manchester United have a 1-goal lead here over Aston Villa. United 1, Villa 0.
I'm interested if this is offside, because the Villa players didn't react. It's come from the goal kick. Martinez has kicked it up the field. It's then been headed clear, and Rashford is clearing acres of space over the top. And as he gets in, he has to take the shot early, and he's onside. He's onside. He has to take the shot on early, Martinez can only parry it. He parries it quite wide, but Fernandes gets there just ahead of Moreno, and it actually deflects off of Moreno and over Martinez. But 1-0 Manchester United.
Really good work again from Rashford. The warning signs that have been there for Villa, that offside trap, he's made the runs forward a couple of times, been caught offside a couple of times, and yeah, Curtis, absolutely right. We thought it might have done. The Bruno Fernandes ball back is it's parried clear by Martinez. He's running forward and his shot does deflect in off Moreno for Manchester United's opener here. And it has been coming, to be fair, hasn't it, Curtis, for Manchester United?
It has, other than those last 3 minutes where Aston Villa had a couple of chances. Manchester United have just been on top. They've been dominating, they've been on the front foot. Villa have been in their structure, but Unai Emery would be very disappointed with their structure for that, because it comes from their goal kick. And there's the confirmation that it is onside. We knew it because we could see it within 10 seconds. But the confirmation, and Bruno's chanting up the crowd and getting them going.
And he fist pumps the Manchester United captain, because that is a big goal, obviously, for Manchester United. We talk about the 2-goal lead they conceded at Tottenham on Thursday night. At the moment, this win, if it ends up being a win for them today, does give them a little bit of more breathing space in that race for the top 4 finish. At the moment, they move level on points with Newcastle in third, just behind them on goal difference, but 7 points, 9 points rather, I should say. You can tell I can't get my maths right. Ahead of Tottenham, as Sabitzer now has the ball, the edge of the area. Mings, though, plays it up and plays it out centrally now to Ramsey, who now sends it down the left to Moreno. Ball's just deflected off him into the back of his own net. And then the return ball for him from Luiz goes past him. He wasn't necessarily expecting that. He's had a good half, Moreno. Feel a bit sorry for him that he might potentially be credited with an own goal. We'll see.
Yeah, he could have been on the end of an assist a minute ago when Ramsey turned and had a shot in the box, and then unfortunately he's the one that deflects it in. But you know, he's done his job. He's done really well to keep up with Bruno, and just unfortunately that's what happens with defenders. You put your foot in and it gets deflected sometimes. 3.5
minutes plus stoppage time to go to half-time here at Old Trafford. Home fans in full voice now, happy with what they've seen. Let's just take you through the top of the table then as it stands, with, remember, 3 other 2 o'clock kickoffs today in the Premier League. It's a busy afternoon of football. Manchester City top of the table at the moment, leading 2-1 at Fulham. So on 76 points. Arsenal, of course, don't play until on Monday rather, or I think it is Tuesday. And then Newcastle on 63, drawing at the moment, 0-0 in their game against Southampton. And then Manchester United just behind them now on goal difference. And I say that Manchester City have just moved up to third because Newcastle have just gone behind at home against Southampton. So Newcastle 0, Southampton 1. Remember, you can hear that game online. Villa on the attack at the moment. Mourinho on the left. Dalot with a tackle, sends the ball out, and that's going to be a...
They actually got lucky there because he was going for the tackle and pulled out just because I think Moreno would have easily ridden that one and got him booked and made it a difficult afternoon for the rest of for the second half.
It's a shot of Unai Emery in the touchline. I'm sure he's enjoying the northeast weather, but is welcoming him here at Old Trafford. Bit of a grimace on his face. Work for his side to do, and certainly they want to keep it at 1-0 heading into half-time as Watkins tries to chase down De Gea's kick out. De Gea does get it free. But Aston Villa have possession again on the right-hand side of the Manchester United area. Casemiro there again, feeding in. Jadon Sancho down the left-hand side. Rashford's making the run more centrally into the area through the middle. Sancho still on the ball, crossing it in. Partially cleared by Villa. Shouts of handball against Ramsey. And he is bundled out of that one by Casemiro, and that's going to be a throw-in for Manchester United in this near-side touchline.
It's a great recovery from Ramsey. It stops almost a certain goal for Fernandes because he was licking his lips as it came towards him. Didn't see Ramsey coming, but a good recovery. 90 seconds plus stoppage time to go here. Manchester United leading at home at Old Trafford, currently up to third in the table because Newcastle are losing to Southampton. So big goals at the top and at the bottom of the table in the Premier League this afternoon here on 5 Sports Extra. And Moreno trying to get in the end of that ball, concedes another throw-in for Manchester United in the Aston Villa half. It's going to be taken by Dalot. Back to Lindelof. So far that Manchester United defence holding firm, but
They were doing so at half-time at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Thursday, so we'll see what happens with them in the second half.
Yeah, I wonder what Unai Emery will do in the second half, because at the moment they're being outnumbered in the middle. Dendoncker and Luis are having a lot to do. You even get that Sabitza's pushing on, or Fernandes is pushing on, and then be it Malacia or Dalot from the opposite side is making a third midfielder, so they're always outnumbered. So in order to get a little bit of a grip for this game, he might have to drop one of the forwards down and put them in the midfield to, again, just try and get some possession and give them a chance.
Fernandes on the ball now it's with Eriksen out on this right-hand side with Dalot again. Tries to get past Ramsey, does so. Mings, though, in there, just doing enough to put off Sabitzer, and Dendoncker now sends it out on the right-hand side to Young. Good pace from Ashley Young against Malacia, and tackle goes in from the Manchester United player, and that will be a throw-in on the far side. As the fourth official holds up the board. 2 minutes we've got at the end of this first half, and we're into that now. It's about 120 seconds to go to the end of this first half. And Manchester United have the ball on the far side, going to take this throw. Not a huge amount of urgency from them. Still leading 1-0 as we head into the break. I think Ollie Watkins has been very isolated as well at times in this first half. That's going to be a puzzle for Unai Emery to solve at half-time as well. He has, because
it's the catch-22, isn't it? It's do you want him to drop down and get involved so he can have more touches, or do you want him to be near to the goal to be able to score? If he starts dropping down, that means that every one of the Villa players will end up being in a defensive third. So ultimately it's about the players around him. They need to keep him up the pitch, get service to him, and allow him to keep his position. But ultimately making 3 or 4 passes is the first part of that, and they haven't been able to do that too often this half.
Yeah, he's got 11 goals in 14 games, Watkins, in Premier League recently, but he has looked a little bit isolated at the moment. Ball over the top from Eriksen, headed down by Fernandes, cleared by Mings, but picked up again by Eriksen. Centre of the Aston Villa half, out on the left-hand side with Casemiro, now with Eriksen. Shot blocked by Konza, and Ashley Young tries to save the corner kick there and gives the ball back to Eriksen. And now shot from the edge of the area from Bruno Fernandes, just about straight at Martinez, and is able to gather that.
It was nearly a good bad one. It was he shanked it with his left foot, so Martinez was kind of caught off guard. He started getting on his way and had to slow himself down a bit, but yeah, it's another chance for Manchester United where the midfield gaps between the defensive 2 and the 3 ahead of that, the gaps are too big. Eriksen literally lands on the ball, steps forward and creates chances from that, and it just hasn't been good enough for Villa so far.
By my watch, we are at the end of the stoppage time, and indeed we are. Half-time whistle goes from Jared Gillett. Manchester United 1, Aston Villa 0. United getting the goal in the end. The goal they probably did deserve when you look at the chances really of this first half. Bruno Fernandes shot after the ball was deflected into his path from Martinez, and it deflected off Moreno into the back of Aston Villa's net 6 minutes or so before the break. And probably on reflection, when we look at the chances of this first half, Curtis Davis, it is probably fair that Manchester United do have the lead at half-time.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Manchester United have been on top most of it. As I said, Villa had about a 3 or 4 minute spell where they had a couple of chances, but then reverted back to their low block. So I think it's only fair that Manchester United are ahead. But I think Villa can be buoyed by the fact that United, second half the other day, felt a bit soft, end up conceding goals. But also, they've conceded a lot from crosses and set pieces. So I think, if it's going to come down to the nitty-gritty parts of the game where Villa haven't got much possession and they need to try to get back into the game, it might be a set piece. Mings scored the other day with a set piece, things like that. So, yeah, they've not got traditional big, a Harry Maguire that's going to head it from the corner kicks and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see if they can put some more balls in the box and make Manchester United defend properly.
Curtis Davies is going to be back with us for second half commentary shortly here on 5 Sports Extra. This is the first of the 2 o'clock games in the Premier League to reach half-time, by the way. Bournemouth 1, Leeds 1, Fulham 1, Manchester City 2. Newcastle 0, Southampton 1, potentially a big goal at the bottom. Let's then, at half-time, join our 5 Live Sport coverage.
Welcome to the voice from Cleveland. That's Cameron and Jake. That's from Mark and Molly and friends. A big warm welcome to Julian and Gowan. Let's hear with Stephen, Melanie, Mary, all around us, and then Julian and Melanie.
More strongly now. And Ederson's goal kick has floated straight out of play into the Fulham dugout over there. Marco Silva, all in black, sitting with his chin on his hand as Stones clears the ball away on the edge of the box, and it eventually bounces out of play for a throw-in over on the far side to the visitors, Manchester City. It is half-time now in Bournemouth leading Leeds by 2-1, and also half-time at St James's Park, where it is Newcastle 0, Southampton 1. The surprise result or scoreline of the afternoon so far. And the ball's out of play again on the far side for a throw-in for Fulham.
And I'm just looking at the table there, John, and if Southampton can hang on to that 1-0 lead at St James's Park, it really does put them back in touching distance with the pack.
So not finished yet. But I mean, Newcastle have been so dominant in so many of the games this season at St James's Park that Southampton are fighting for their lives. And you know what we say about teams at this stage of the season when they're fighting for their lives. Here is a little shove by Haaland on Tosin Adarabioyo, and then he plays it to Grealish on the edge of the box. A twist from Grealish into the box. Haaland pulls it across. Defenders there in number, they block it. Haaland's ball over. That's headed away by Diop. Comes out to Gundogan. Manchester City pressing here for a late goal in the first half. If they get 3-1 up on Fulham, surely there'd be no way of them coming back from that. But there's the half-time whistle, and an entertaining first 45 minutes ends with a scoreline of Fulham 1, Manchester City 2, after Haaland gave the champions the early lead with the penalty, his 50th goal of the season. Carlos Vinicius struck back an equaliser for Fulham after in the 15th minute, but that excellent late goal from Julian Alvarez means that Manchester City are in front of Glenn Murray.
Yes, they are, and they started off the game with a real bang with that penalty, and I expected them to run away with it, but Fulham found a foothold, got back into it, and for a while the first half was pretty even. Yes, Manchester City were dominant in possession, but never created too much. A good save from the Fulham goalkeeper Leno onto the bar from Grealish was the only note really, but then Alvarez made the difference, gets the ball on the edge of the area with a sumptuous finish into the top corner to give Manchester City the advantage here at half-time.
So the usual cast of thousands crossing the pitch, but the television camera there very much, as you can imagine, focusing on Erling Haaland after he reached that great milestone in the first half. Half-time here though, Fulham 1, Manchester City 2.
John, Glenn, thank you very much. Let's rattle round the half-time scores in the Premier League to Old Trafford. Lee Blakeman.
Manchester United 1, Aston Villa 0. Bruno Fernandes with the only goal of the half. It came 6 minutes before the break. Rashford in from the left, and his shot saved well by Martinez. Fernandes followed it up though, and his shot deflected over the stranded Villa keeper. United, you have to say, deserve the lead on the balance of play. They really do. Casemiro's at the crossbar. Simic has cleared the crossbar from around about 15 yards out. Just one real chance for Villa. Moreno forcing a sharp save from David De Gea from 8 yards. Half-time here, Manchester United 1, Aston Villa 0.
To the Vitality, Bournemouth Leeds, Jonathan Overend.
Competitive first half, and it's Bournemouth 2, Leeds 1 at half-time. Bournemouth firmly in control midway through when they took a 2-0 lead. Both goals from Jefferson Lerma, the second pouncing on yet another error from Meslier, the Leeds goalkeeper, flapping unnecessarily at a cross, and the ball just landing a couple of yards in front of him for Lerma to pounce. But then Leeds, tenacious, working hard in this first half, got one back on the half hour. Patrick Bamford's header. It's Bournemouth 2, Leeds 1.
Leeds fans won't like that score, and they won't like this one either. To St James's Park, Chris Coles.
They won't. Southampton are leading by a goal to nil. What a difference a week makes. 7 days ago, Newcastle had a 5-0 half-time lead over Spurs. It's been a very different match against a belligerent Southampton. They're putting in a much improved performance from their midweek shocker at home to Bournemouth. They've been solid defensively. They've offered sporadic threats on the counter, and that's where the goal came from. Kamaldeen Sulemana breaking clear, square ball, Stuart Armstrong arriving to bundle home. Newcastle have had most of the ball but doing very little with it. They're lacking their usual fizz. It's all a bit lethargic. Anthony Gordon wasting their best chance, hitting the post from an angle when clean through. And what a big 45 minutes ahead for Southampton. They could be narrowing the gap to safety to just 3 points if it stays this way. Newcastle 0, Southampton 1.
We're beyond the hour mark in the Scottish Cup semi-final at Hampden. Rangers Celtic, ready for side.
And it's still Rangers 0, Celtic 1. That goal scored by Jota just before before half-time after a calamitous series of mistakes in the Rangers defence. It's become more even. A Kyogo shot turned aside by the Rangers keeper McGregor for a corner kick, and 2 minutes later an Arfield shot dealt with in exactly the same fashion by Joe Hart. But Celtic still on course for that place in the cup final, and perhaps also a domestic treble, and Kyogo shoots and it just skims past the post. And it's still, with 63 minutes gone, Rangers 0, Celtic 1.
Elsewhere in the Championship, Huddersfield beat Cardiff City 2-1 to go 3 points clear of the relegation zone. They also have a game in hand. They need a point from their final 2 games at most to secure Championship football. In the Women's Super League at half-time, it's Manchester City 2, Reading 1. If it were to stay that way, then City would be 3 points behind Manchester United, who are top of the table. And Napoli, currently playing Salernitana in Serie A, knowing that victory will see them crowned champions. That one kicked off at 2 o'clock. It's goalless at half-time. We'll hear from Trent Alexander-Arnold and look ahead to Liverpool versus Tottenham, which is our 4:30 commentary on Premier League Sunday after the news with Carl Hartley.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thanks, Steve. A man in his 30s has died and several people have been stabbed during a fight in Bodmin. Cornwall police were called to reports of someone having a knife in the early hours of this morning. A 24-year-old man has been arrested on suspicion of murder and attempted murder. The Royal College of Nursing says it's agreed to exempt more of its members from the latest pay strike, which is due to get underway in England this evening. The union's General Secretary, Pat Cullen, says it has worked tirelessly with the NHS to make sure the walkout is as safe as possible for patients. The government says it will carry on supporting British nationals trapped by fighting in Sudan after the RAF ended its operation to fly out British nationals. The Foreign Office has deployed a team in the port of Sudan on the Red Sea, which is about 500 miles from Khartoum. And a 5-month-old baby has been taken to hospital in Cardiff after a dog attack in Caerphilly yesterday. The child's injuries are not thought to be life-threatening.
More live Premier League football than anyone else.
5 Live's Premier League Sunday
with Steve Crossman.
The final of the World Snooker Championship is live right now on BBC Two. It's Mark Selby against Luca Brissell. Jamie Broughton.
And it's Brissell that's made a fast start here. He made breaks of 77 and 90 as he raced to a 3-0 lead. Selby then responded to take the fourth with a break of 54. But Brissell is about to win this frame 5 to go 4-1 up. 18 is the target to win.
We can go to one of the best-named sporting facilities in the world now. The world number 1 Iga Swiatek continues her preparations for defence of her French Open title at the Madrid Open. Russell Fuller, where are you?
I'm at the Caja Magica, which translates very nicely as the magic box, Steve. I do feel it's probably slightly more magic for those who've never seen it before. I'm seeing quite a lot of grey as I look out at the roof, which is not required, fortunately, because there's a little bit of blue sky above the court. Good atmosphere whenever a Spanish player's in action. Can be a little bit quiet at other times in the magic box, and this evening there will be Carlos Alcaraz against Grigor Dimitrov. The big star attraction this afternoon is going to be Iga Swiatek, the world number 1, who defended her title in Stuttgart last week. She's up against Bernarda Pera of the United States. She'll be on after Jessica Pegula finishes her match against Marie Buskova. The third seed from the States, Pegula leads 6-4, 2-1. And earlier, Jamie Murray and Michael Venus reached the doubles quarterfinals by taking a deciding 10-point tiebreak.
Russell, thank you very much. That's our tennis correspondent, Russell Fuller. Rugby Union, the second semi-final of the European Champions Cup this afternoon. The holders, La Rochelle, welcome Exeter Chiefs for France. Good afternoon, Claire Thomas.
Good afternoon. Just 80 minutes stand between one of these two and a do-or-die date in Dublin with Leinster on May 20th. You've got to go back to 2019 for the last final without either of these two sides involved. They love this competition and their fans love them. Within just 2 hours of tickets going on sale for this one, 30,000 had sold, and we're expecting the on-pitch fireworks to match. Kick-offs at 4 with the reigning champions favourites to get the job done and set up a rematch of last year's final.
Elsewhere in the Challenge Cup semi-final, it finished Toulon 23, Benetton 0, so it'll be Glasgow Warriors against Toulon in the final on the 19th of May. Sergio Perez beat Red Bull teammate Max Verstappen to win the Azerbaijan Grand Prix with a little help from the safety car. That cuts Verstappen's championship lead to just 6 points. Here he is.
Of course, the safety car was a bit unlucky. Then I had to push again. I tried to stay very close to try and get into the DRS, but I think the tires were overheating a bit because of that, of course, trying to follow. But also the balance, I was struggling to be really consistent. So I was playing around with the tools a little bit. And I think once I got that sorted, I would say the last 10 laps were actually quite good again. but just a little bit too late. But I think a lot of things learned again throughout the race. We know it's a very long season. I mean, Baku is again quite different to Miami, and Miami is going to be again very different to the other tracks we go to. You keep learning, you know, it can never be perfect all the time. I think there are always days that you can learn.
At 4:30, we'll be live at Anfield for Liverpool versus Tottenham in the Premier League in full. Jurgen Klopp's side have won 3 games on the spin. Here's Trent Alexander-Arnold on the feeling inside the dressing room.
I think there's an element of confidence back and a belief that we, you know, when you are getting bad results, it takes your confidence, and it's like you then lack that belief that you know you're a top team anymore. And I think once you get back to winning ways, you start to believe and you start to feel it, and then it just flows. And I think we are just at the beginning of that process again.
Did that belief and confidence disappear then for a time?
I wouldn't say it disappeared, but it's definitely not as evident as it is when you're winning games. You know, I think back to last season when we're winning every game in every competition, and it feels like you're unstoppable. It's like you don't even need to think about what you're doing. It's just you go on the pitch and you win, and then you come off and you don't even realise what's happened. It's just autopilot. Whereas when you are losing games or you have lost games, you need to think about what's going on and why, and then kind of second guessing the quality that you've got somewhat.
What would be the lowest point, or what has been the lowest point? Has there been a game that has been the lowest point of this season?
I think there's been a couple of results that haven't been great. I think obviously back to Brighton away, Wolves away, even City away, they were not good results at all, and not good performances. There's been a few low performances and results, but I think just the vibe of the season hasn't been ideal either.
I do remember after that Wolves defeat, the manager, when we saw him afterwards, had said, he just said what he had to say, and then just said, I don't want to see you for a couple of days. Mm-hmm. Was that just the breathing space that maybe you all needed?
I think it can get quite intense inside the building, as you can imagine. Just a lot of us all kind of airing our thoughts out, and, you know, after a run of bad results, that energy can become quite negative. So I think it was good for all of us to just kind of have that time off to just reassess and reevaluate what was going on, and I think that's when we came back and beat Everton. So I think it helped us.
And what about you? How have you dealt with it? Because there's been a lot of noise around you this season, but you're very good at seem to be shutting out that noise.
I probably have the same approach personally as I do for the team's performances this season. I look at it the same way. You don't go from being, you know, a world-class team or world-class player last season to then losing that ability and that talent and not having that within you. So I know as a team and personally what I can achieve and what the potential I've got, and a bad season or bad run of results or bad performances won't knock that belief that I've got within.
Did it ever, or has it ever got to you, the negativity that's been said in and around you?
No, I think it's part of the game, to be honest. Mm-hmm. I think I've had a lot of love and a lot of good things said about me, and that far outweighs the bad things that I said about me.
Welcome back to Old Trafford. We are here on 5 Sports Extra, the Premier League commentary of Manchester United against Aston Villa. United leading 1-0 thanks to a goal 6 minutes before the break, a shot from Bruno Fernandes which deflected in off Moreno into the back of the Villa player's own net, past Martinez, and the Manchester United players are back out on the turf here now, and Aston Villa players are just emerging from the tunnel to our left as well. I'm just going to run you through the lineups because it looks like we're not going to have any substitutions from either side at half-time. Manchester United making 2 changes from the Spurs draw in midweek on Thursday. So they've got De Gea in goal, Dalot, Lindelof, Shaw, Malacia, Casemiro and Eriksen. Casemiro obviously hitting the crossbar as well around when Manchester United took the lead in the first half. Sancho, Sabitzer, Fernandes with Rashford up top for Manchester United. And indeed, it doesn't look like there are going to be any changes either from Villa, so I'll give you their starting 11. Martinez, Moreno, Mings, Konza and Young, Dendoncker, Douglas Luiz, as we are underway now in the second half. McGinn, Buendia, Ramsey and Watkins up top. So in this second half, Manchester United are going to be attacking the Stretford end. So they're playing from right to left as we watch here. And they're all familiar home kit of the red jerseys, the white shorts and the black socks. Aston Villa in their light pale blue jerseys, the claret shorts and the claret socks as well with the blue trim just around the top as well. And the ball is back with their goalkeeper Martinez in the early stages of the second half. Curtis Davis alongside us here at Old Trafford. What do we think then Aston Villa might change in the second half then, Curtis? Because as we say, Watkins pretty isolated at times in the first half here as Young's now on the ball. Not challenged really at all by Manchester United. Gets the cross into the edge of the box. Head up there by Lindelof, and the ball goes over the top of both him and Watkins and goes out on the far side for a Villa throw-in. So I've potentially answered my own question there.
That was bizarre. It was like somebody didn't get the memo. Martinez had the ball. He stopped on it from, I believe it was just a goal kick. And Young's just made a run down the right-hand side into the space. And whoever it is, if it's meant to be the centre midfielder or the fullback, nobody engaged him. And he's run up the pitch 30, 40 yards, puts the ball in, and it literally just flicked on by Lindelof just ahead of Watkins. If not, Watkins has got a tap-in of a header.
And they did have a throw-in on the far side, Villa, as they attack from left to right in this second half. So they're defending the Stretford end, but they didn't make the most of that, and it's gone out again for a throw-in, but a Manchester United throw-in. 16 yards or so out from the dead ball line in their own half. But it was a very odd moment. Maybe it was Malacia, perhaps. They were marking each other in the first half, but Manchester United really caught napping in the opening seconds of the second half by Villa there. But they send the ball forward now, and Mings is marking Rashford and make sure that is a Aston Villa ball that they win. And Moreno, and then more centrally Eriksson manages to just get his foot on the ball and win it back for United. Out on the right with them as they are over the halfway line now, Manchester United. But again, Villa pressing a bit more in the early stages of the second half, a bit more intensity and energy from them in the opening seconds of this second half, Curtis.
Yeah, they weren't allowing Manchester United to settle in the game. Just then again, Dalot just loses it to Ramsey. So yeah, again, they're just getting right up against them and stopping them from having all their way. Because in the first half they were dropping off, they were allowing them to play in front of them. But this half so far, they've tried to get up and try to engage them a little bit higher up the pitch. Because when they are winning it back, it means they've got one or two passes and they're in a crossing or shooting position.
And they've got the ball at the moment, Aston Villa, all up in Manchester United's half. It's out on this right-hand side with Young again. And then Villa win a throw-in on this near-side touchline, which Young is going to take. Ball in his hands to the feet of Buendia, back with Young, but Sancho concedes the throw-in again. And Villa with a good bit of play in this early stages with that ball is a mistake from Buendia, and that goes out for a Manchester United throw-in on this near-side touchline.
I really don't understand what just happened there as well. Young has picked up the ball. He's got Eriksson one side and Luke Shaw, and Buendia just stands in the middle, got the ball the first time, wins another throw, picks up the ball, throws it straight to Buendia again. Unfortunately, Buendia's touch wasn't great, but again, nobody engaged him and allowed him to have the ball. So Manchester United need to wake up a bit, because they haven't really started this half very well at all.
Manchester United, they're losing possession, conceding the throw-in again. So opportunity this perhaps for Villa, and Ashley Young wins another throw-in. A couple of yards outside the dead ball line, this one. And try a long throw forward, perhaps. The former United defender. He throws it there to John McGinn, who goes straight down, and Manchester United are protesting there, but it seems a pretty obvious free kick and a mistake from United there.
Yeah, it was an obvious free kick. Malacia gets way too tight and just bundles into John McGinn. It is one of those that sometimes players will go down, and once they lay on the ball, it makes the referee's decision harder. But it's an obvious free kick for me, and just really clumsy, because John McGinn didn't have anywhere to go really, and he's just given them a chance. And as I said just before half-time, Manchester United have been very susceptible to crosses and to set pieces. So let's see if John McGinn can find Mings for a goal.
Yeah, so McGinn standing over this. It's really tight angle on the right, just a yard or so, just a yard inside the dead ball line. John McGinn's going to take this in, sweeps it out to the edge of the area. That was for Luiz. He tried the shot, edge of the D, blocked by Luke Shaw, and the ball goes out on the far side for an Aston Villa throw-in. Obvious set-piece move from the training ground there from Aston Villa, but a bit more concentrated Manchester United defence there, making sure that chance came to nothing. Throw-in for Villa on the far side. Still got possession at the moment. Moreno battling there and ultimately losing possession. Manchester United winning then a free kick as well. As I think it's Louise there holding on to the Manchester United player on the far side, and a little bit of a chance here for United to breathe. Haven't really got going in this second half yet, Curtis.
No, I think they need a spell of possession just to settle them down a bit. I didn't like the set piece, to be fair, the setup from it. I don't really understand. The ball was literally just on the edge of the penalty box, and there's Ramsey and there was Buendia both on the edge of the box, and Manchester United lined up in a line of about 9 players on the 6-yard box and allowed the ball to be played back. And they don't wrong, they get out and they get the block, but to allow 2 players there, if you just send one to kind of stand there and stop that happening, it could have caused problems for them.
Yeah, and it's not like it's a surprise. Thinking as well of opportunities in the first half where Villa did exactly the same from a corner, sending the ball to John McGinn in the D. His shot then just wide of the right-hand post, arguably their best chance of this half. But that move from Villa, it isn't a surprise one. Shouldn't have really taken Manchester United perhaps by as much surprise as it did. And they have lost possession again, Manchester United. Casemiro going down there, and Bruno Fernandes rather, and that is going to be a free kick for United in the Aston Villa half. And this may be perhaps what they need to kick-start their second half here. Still leading by a 1-0. But a bit of a sloppy few minutes from Manchester United at the start of the second half here.
I think maybe psychologically looking at the setup, maybe because they haven't got that person that's a dominant header of the ball, that they thought if we go with Moorman, it'll give us more of a chance of winning the ball. But ultimately, if you get Mings against anyone, it's going to be a difficult prospect.
And Manchester United there trying to take the free kick quickly, and Jared Gillett blowing his whistle, not happy about that. So we're going to go back and take this free kick again. We're trying to catch that Villa defence off guard. It's probably 40 yards or so out, just on the right apex and level with the right apex of the 18-yard box. Eriksson and Shaw, the 2 players standing over this. Jared Gillett's just saying, wait for my whistle, please. They do so. Eriksson sends it in, long ball over the top. And at the far post was Lindelof there, and doesn't really get an awful lot on that, and that goes straight out for a goal kick. Yeah,
it's a difficult chance. Once it bounces, it almost skids away onto his left foot. He's a good technical player, but it would have been hard for him to score from that angle anyway, let alone with his left foot. But yeah, blazed over and a goal kick for Aston Villa.
It's interesting looking at Manchester United there and that set piece. There's been arguments this season of an over-reliance on Marcus Rashford, and I think when you see that there weren't that many opportunities for them then, that is pretty obvious sometimes in this Manchester United team.
It is, and that's the thing. It's very difficult. I just believe if you haven't got somebody to aim for, I think you've got to try and work something, and that just seemed a bit hopeful rather than organised. And unfortunately for Lindelof, it skid just in front of him, but still it was a very difficult ball for him to get onto, even if it was on the right side. So
I think Eriksson got a bit too much on it, but he's done a bit better with this one now. Feeding out Malacia on the right, cross coming in, then from the left, and Rashford trying to get on the end of that. I think he got his feet stuck in the turf, or it just took a deflection there off Mings, just away from the Manchester United number 10. And he felt that was a really good opportunity, Marcus Rashford, to reach 20 here at home in all competitions in the colours of Manchester United. He's got 19 in all competitions here at Old Trafford this season, Marcus Rashford. Looking to be the first player since Wayne Rooney to score 20 here at Old Trafford. Wayne Rooney doing that back in 2010. So a nice little target there for Marcus Rashford to try and aim at, and it's fed forward again by Lindelof. Bruno Fernandes, though, just blocked out of that one by Moreno, gathered by Martinez in his area.
A minute ago, John McGinn was released down the right side with a kick from Martinez, and that was an example of when a player stops, waits to be hit and goes over the ball. Jared Gillett didn't buy it. McGinn had to get up, ends up giving away a throw-in.
9 minutes gone in the second half here at Old Trafford here on 5 Sports Extra. Manchester United still leading by a 1-0, one of 4 games at 2. Buendia, edge of the D, doesn't take the shot on, still with the ball under his foot, moves it out to the left now. Cutback comes in, picked up by Sabitzer, loops it forward. Bruno Fernandes to run onto that one. Louise bundling it out for a throw-in on the far side.
Showed a little bit of defensive naivety there, Dallo. Even though he wins the header and stops Ramsey getting above him, he heads it central straight to Buendia. That's a header where you need to try and flick it on, or at least flick it wide of the box so you make someone work. But the fact it lands Buendia, he's lucky that Casemiro was right there to stop Buendia having a shot.
Keep waiting for Buendia to potentially take that shot on, but Casemiro making sure he didn't really feel he had the opportunity to him. And Manchester United take the throw in. Luke Shaw sending it forward to Eriksen. Now he's sent Jadon Sancho down the left, making the run into the area. Just pulling back now more centrally one way than the other. Still Jadon Sancho opting now to send it out to Malacia again. Cutback comes in, cleared by Luiz. And this is going to be a good opportunity this for Manchester United to get a second.
As soon as he chops back onto his right foot and stops, that's when the chance goes. He needs to lay it off to the edge of the box.
Sancho feeds it into the box this time, headed by Mings back. It's picked up by Lindelof. Still United possession in Aston Villa's half. Buendia trying to close down Shaw a bit, and McGinn there winning a throw-in for Aston Villa in their own half on this near side touchline, which Ashley Young will take. 11 minutes gone in this second half. United still ahead. John McGinn goes down again, wants another free kick. Referee still not interested. Jared Gillett, and the ball goes all the way back to Manchester United's defence. Newcastle have equalised as Christian Eriksen goes down on the turf here, and Jared Gillett is going to stop play here, and I wonder if he's going to have a word here with John McGinn, who's obviously been a little bit frustrated. A couple of decisions haven't gone his way, and yeah, he is being summoned by Jared Gillett. He's just going to have a word with the Aston Villa captain.
It's cynical, you know. Obviously he's upset. He believes he didn't get a decision, but you know, he just literally runs straight into the back of Eriksen. There's no chance of winning the ball. He's about a second too late. I can't believe the referees let him get away with a booking. Fair enough, to talking to is one thing, but anywhere else on the pitch, I'd want a booking for that. So yeah, I feel McGinn's got away with one there.
So no yellow cards yet in this game, by the way, but John McGinn certainly coming closest to treading that fine line. Manchester United take the free kick. Malacia sending it all the way forward out on the right and picked up there by United. Spitzer, of course, more centrally. Now Rashford, edge of the D, running forward, still going forward. Marcus Rashford, and just Martinez does enough to block it. Very brave to go into the feet of Rashford there, Martinez.
Yeah, but I think it was his to win. I think it was 60-40 in his favour, and I think he feels if he makes himself big, Rashford might not want the challenge to come in. But yeah, he was quite well ahead of it. Rashford slightly leaves his foot in, but yeah, brave from Martinez and a good save.
Martinez shaking his hand. He's obviously felt a bit of a stunner there on his hand as he saved that chance from Marcus Rashford. Got low, was brave to get the ball away from the Manchester United number 10's feet. And Villa are going to try and play out again from the back, and Rashford closing down Martinez very quickly there, and just about the Villa keeper gets it away, and it's now with Buendia down there left hand side over the halfway line, Villa. But Rashford does so much work off the ball, Curtis. It's I guess that's what makes him so hard to defend against sometimes.
He does, and that's what's credit to him in the fact that he's got so many goals.
Buendia forward now on this right hand side. Now switches it up and sends it out to the left, Moreno, and now Ramsey's trying to get on that, but picked up again by United, headed back by Fernandes to his defence. Dalot forward now to Casemiro, out on this side to Malacia. Now it's with Sancho. He's set away. He's got an overlap there for Malacia, but then brings it back to Casemiro, centre of the pitch. And this is good, patient work from United now after a nervy start to the second half. A reminder, this is one of 4 2 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League, and Malacia in an offside position there. That was a bit of a disappointing moment if you're a Manchester United fan, or indeed Eric Ten Hag on the touchline there. This is one of 4 2 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League, all back underway and all available to listen to on the BBC. Bournemouth 1, Leeds 1, Newcastle 1. Now they have equalised at St James's Park against Southampton, 1-1 that as well. Both those commentaries available for you via the BBC Sport app. Fulham 1, Manchester City 2. The champions are going top of the Premier League as it stands on 5 Live at the moment. Watkins back heel now to Ramsey. Ramsey still going forward, edge of the D. Shot is deflected over the crossbar. Lindelof there getting in the ball to send that one high and wide, and this is going to be an Aston Villa corner from the right.
Yeah, good work from Aston Villa. McGinn had the ball, he's played it into Watkins, some nice combination play with Buendia, and then Ramsey drives on, has the shot. Lindelof with a great block, goes way over the bar, so a good block from him, but it's a corner, and Manchester United will be fearful when it comes to corners.
So this is going to be John McGinn taking this from the right as Aston Villa attack this second half from left to right in front of us. Raises his right arm. Is he going to send this out to the D, as we've seen him do a couple of times already? No, sends it out to the far post. De Gea comes out, punches it clear, picked up by Buendia, and now Ashley Young battling Malacia for that one. And Manchester United do eventually get it clear. And is the counter-attack opportunity on? No, because the ball bounced awkwardly in front of Christian Eriksen, and Villa are able to gather it and go again down this left-hand side. Forward now again, Aston Villa, and Dalot gets it clear on the far side for a throw-in. Bit more urgency now from Aston Villa in this game.
Yeah, it was a good corner. De Gea has to punch it, but a bit of communication between Buendia and Young, because it looked like Young was shaping up for the volley, and Buendia took the touch. Ended up having to make a tackle against Malacia, but luckily for Villa, Dendoncker was there at the back to stop a breakaway.
Throw-in taken by Villa on the far side. Manchester United win the ball back though. Rashford with his black gloves on. And United with Casemiro now in the centre circle. Out on this left-hand side to Malacia. Ball a bit behind him, so he has to just check himself a bit. Now back with Shaw. And Casemiro is now on this left-hand touchline. Lovely ball through the middle over the top for Rashford. Has he beaten the offside track? And he doesn't quite get the bounce of the ball right as he tries to chest it down. And Martinez has time to gather the ball and send Aston Villa forward again.
It's a fantastic ball. Ramsey's on the break.
Ramsey's here on the break on the far side. Tackle goes in from Dalot. And it is going to be an Aston Villa corner from the left.
Well, we'll go back to the chance for Rashford. First of all, it's a great ball. Casemiro is out on the left touchline, just past the halfway line. Has no right, really. Plays with his right foot, straight ball over the top. Rashford's touched just a bit too heavy. Then they go down the other end. Ramsey goes down the left-hand side. He beats Dalot down the side. In my opinion, it's a foul. But I think the ref guesses. Rather than giving the foul, he gives the corner. So neither are happy, but ultimately Villa have got a corner.
And it's another opportunity, set-piece opportunity to perhaps for Villa. Louise has taken this from the left for Villa this time. John McGinn, edge of the D. Corner comes in, headed out by Manchester United, picked up again by Louise for a throw-in on the far side touchline. Back with John McGinn. Sent all the way back pretty much to the halfway line now. Ashley Young and John McGinn again, trapped by Eriksen, and Aston Villa lose out the ball. Loose pass there, picked up by Sancho on the right hand side now, sending it forward. Eriksen's going to bits. Rashford wants it there, and the ball is just cleared away from the feet of Rashford by Tyrone Mings. Buendia, and then they lose out on possession again. Villa, edge of the area, ball comes in wide of the left hand post from Christian Eriksen. Didn't get enough on that at all.
Both chances, Manchester United should have made a lot more from it. You know, Sancho's feet were great down the right-hand side, dribbled past a couple of players, put Eriksen in. Eriksen puts it across. There's Rashford in the middle, and I think it was, I don't know who, it's Sabitzer as well. But unfortunately for him, he couldn't find one of them. Then it falls to him on the edge of the box after Tyrone Mings flicks it away, and his shot goes well wide, so it's frustrating.
So a couple of changes now in the second half for Aston Villa. A double change. Ashley Young has left the field. He's been replaced by Callum Chambers. And the other change is Leander Dendoncker. He has also left the field for Aston Villa, and he's been replaced by Traore. So just trying to freshen things up, I guess, a little bit. Aston Villa, you know, as good as and experienced as Ashley Young has been, he's not getting any younger, Curtis.
Yeah, of course, yeah, but I do think that he offers something going forward as well. So when you are trying to get back into a game, the way he can cross the ball, his football intelligence is fantastic. And I wouldn't say he's been caught out too many times. If anything, I think he's made some excellent tackles and stuff like that for the team. But obviously the manager knows him better than I do right now, and to keep him fresh is probably the best thing.
So 20 minutes into this second half, 2 changes made by Unai Emery, the only subs yet in this game. And Martinez sends the ball out up to the halfway line, picked up again by United. Casemiro once more, long ball over the top. That's for Jadon Sancho. Martinez gathers edge of the area, sends it out on this right-hand touchline. And Buendia there goes down, wanting a free kick for Villa. Referee not giving anything, and United again are going to be able to build from the halfway line for Manchester United.
I think Jared Gillett has reffed the game quite well, to be honest. I think other than probably the McGinn decision to not book him, I think he's managed it well because he's not letting little half things that don't have to be decisions. He's letting the game go and letting the game flow.
Ball over the top. Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford both trying to run onto that. Martinez now sending it down the other way for Watkins, and that's headed out by David De Gea. Both goalkeepers being very quick off their lines and quick out their areas today to kind of clear things away.
I'm just relieved that David De Gea went with his head rather than his feet this time because you know, I guess it must be a heart in mouth moment, particularly when that was the last incident to happen to you. So he dealt with it really well.
Yeah, he's had a patchy couple of weeks, perhaps, is the best way to put it, for David De Gea. Contract up in the summer as well, so an interesting time for the Manchester United number one, but right decision from him that point to clear the ball out with a head on the far side. Villa with possession in the centre circle. Mings with the ball under his left foot, just assessing his options, and then sends it back on this right-hand side to Konza. And now Chambers, who's just come on the pitch in the last couple of minutes for Aston Villa. Again, though, Traoré, again, another one of the subs, just losing out possession. Sabitzer now has this in the centre of the field for Manchester United. Sancho, another one of these runs down the left-hand side from the Manchester United 25. Trapped by Chambers, trapped by Traoré, back with Malacia. Left corner of the 18-yard box. Casemiro tries to kind of take the shot on, and it deflects off a couple of different players and just kind of bobbles on the turf through safely to Martinez.
Villa have been very static in possession. I think they're trying to provoke Manchester United onto it. Manchester United are getting into their block and stopping Villa playing through them, but I think Villa are waiting for that one player to jump, and then they're trying to play some slick passes around it.
They've got the ball in possession now, just the edge of the Manchester United area. Buendia forward, Watkins there, but very congested penalty area for Manchester United, and the shot from distance there comes in and goes out on the far side of the right-hand post.
I think Buendia, when Ramsey comes in and plays the ball to him, I think he tries to be too cute. I think he should probably have a shot. It's very tight to squeeze somebody in, and it gets blocked, goes to McGinn, and McGinn hits it well, but just drags it wide, always going wide, so not any danger for David De Gea.
22.5 minutes midway through this second half then here at Old Trafford. Two important Bournemouth goals to tell you about, by the way. Bournemouth 3, Leeds 1. In one of the other 2 o'clock games in the Premier League today. Potentially huge 3 points that for Bournemouth, and all sorts of problems it seems for Leeds at the moment. After a promising start under Javi Gracia at Ellen Road, it is looking very sticky for them at the moment at the bottom of the table. 3-1 Bournemouth lead Leeds. No other goals to tell you about in the other 2 o'clock games. And then of course at 4:30 5 Live will have commentary for you of Liverpool against Tottenham. 7 days on since Tottenham had a day to forget, certainly at St James's Park last Sunday. Throw-in taken deep inside their own half by Villa on the far side. Picked up on that left-hand side, and it's with Moreno. Remember, Manchester United's goal deflected in off him. That shot from Bruno Fernandes steered into his own net, really, by Moreno. And just Manchester United just quite happy at the moment just to take a little bit of Aston Villa momentum out of this game.
There's going to be a point where Villa need to show a bit more energy and get higher up, because Manchester United are just so comfortable at the moment, and even when Villa have got the ball, they're not particularly moving it very fast. They're not moving it quickly, not playing between the thirds. They're just playing it from side to side and making it very easy for United.
Good ball though from Christian Eriksen to the feet of Jadon Sancho. Now feeding in Fernandes, looping ball over the top. That was targeting Sabitzer, partially cleared by Villa, and now picked up by Ramsey on the far side, and he's tracked there by Sancho. He's back on that side of the pitch at the moment, and wins the throw-in on the far side. Jacob Ramsey.
Ramsey's just so important to Aston Villa this second half, particularly because he's the only one that seems to be able to get the ball and just drive forward and get him up the pitch. He often finds himself being tracked by 2 or 3 men, but gets him up the pitch at least.
Sabitzer feeding in Rashford, shot from distance, edge of the D, and it did take a deflection, and Martinez was stretching to his right to gather that one because of the slight deflection it took, but he's also set off Aston Villa on the counter. And Traoré now feeding in, or trying to feed in, Buendia. Shaw though quick to it, and now it's with Malacia. Good work by the Manchester United defender And he's got the ball at his feet now and is urged on by the Old Trafford crowd. Still leading 1-0 Manchester United. Are they going to get a second to consolidate their place in the top 4? And Rashford now on the ball. Shepherded, though, to safety that by Konza, and it's back safely in the hands of Emi Martinez. Sorry,
probably handball as well, to be honest. I think if he does get the shot off, I think that gets ruled out straight away on VAR. Well, I say straight away, probably after a 3-minute break, but it would have been ruled out on VAR.
So Villa going to have to try and think of something a little bit different here. 20 minutes to go, trailing 1-0. Chambers forward to Traore, just on this right near side touchline. On the right is Villa attacking the second half. Chambers, Buendia, 1-2. Now Chambers through to Watkins, but that's picked up by Casemiro, and he's so experienced, fighting every decision, fighting every ball. Casemiro, brilliant performance again from him today in the colours of Manchester United.
Yeah, it's a great covering tackle. I think Manchester United, the way they're playing, they're nullifying Buendia because they're allowing Lindelof to go 1v1 with Watkins when Villa have got the ball, and Luke Shaw is just following Buendia into the pocket, so Buendia is unable to get the ball, unable to get turned. So if it does get it, he's usually got 2 or 3 men around him, and it's just very difficult. If they're not playing through Buendia, you don't know where it's going to come from, to be honest, because, as I said, Ramsey's being honest, going all the way back, bringing the ball up the pitch, but he can't keep doing that for another 20-odd minutes because, it will be tiring.
Yeah, and Watkins still really hasn't featured a huge amount in this game. There's that chance where he had that kind of elaborate bicycle kick over the top that he attempted, but other than that, it's been a pretty quiet performance from Ollie Watkins this afternoon.
Yeah, with Villa in terms of balls into the box or creating chances, there hasn't really been a lot. You know, they've had a few flashes of things, you know, that John McGinn shot just a little while ago, but that's about it. It's come from moments of little clearances, things like that, but in general play they haven't really been able to create much. It's more been from a clearance from Manchester United or a Manchester United slip.
Overcast skies here at Old Trafford on 5 Sports Extra. Ball over the top from Sabitzer. Rashford's running onto it, has it now, edge of the area, forced out wide by Chambers, and goes down just on the dead ball line. Manchester United want the penalty, the fans want the penalty. Jared Giller allows play to continue. Casemiro shot from distance, just wide of the left-hand post.
Yeah, I really don't know what to think about this, because it's one of those decisions that you'd say, oh, it's soft for a penalty, but I think anywhere else on the pitch, if he's just outside the box, I think Chambers doesn't need to get in so tight to make that tackle, but obviously he goes down, Gillette doesn't give it gets rolled out to the edge of the box. Casemiro, left foot, literally about a foot outside the post, and I just think it's really clumsy from Chambers. I don't think he needs to make the challenge, and now I'm looking at it, I'll probably say it is a penalty. It's a really non-decision to make. He doesn't need to do anything. Rashford's on the touchline going away from goal, and he just wrestles him to the floor.
He does wrestle him, and he doesn't make any attempt really at all to play the ball. Certainly doesn't get any of the ball. And Rashford's still down now, just sitting inside the Aston Villa penalty area. So just going to have a pause in play here. He's getting some treatment, and Erik ten Hag going to make some substitutions as well here, as the players just take the opportunity to take on some drinks. Fred and Anthony are going to be the 2 changes we're going to have for Manchester United here, and also a couple more Aston Villa ones as well. So it's going to be a busy couple of minutes for us, just working out who is coming on. The Villa changes are going to be made first. So it looks like we're going to be having Luca Digne and John Duran coming on for Aston Villa. Find out in a moment who they are replacing. And as we say, the 2 changes for Manchester United are going to be Fred and Anthony. Marcus Rashford's back up to his feet. Good to see. He's just walking off just to the touchline. Obviously received a little bit of treatment. I'm sure he'll be back on the field shortly. Such an important player for Manchester United this season. He's just having a little conversation there with Chambers, probably saying something similar as you did there, Curtis, wondering how that wasn't a penalty.
Yeah, it's like you say, I think when you look at things, you think, oh, maybe he's made a bit of a meal of it, but when you're able to see the replay, and the refs have that opportunity to see a replay, but I guess if they don't see it as clear and obvious, they don't need to look at it. But I think it was was a clumsy decision by Chambers to push Rashford in the back, and I do think it was a penalty.
Rashford's getting ready to come back onto the field. We've just had the 2 subs made by Villa. We'll sort those out for you in a sec. Just wait to see who the 2 Manchester United players are going to replace. Here now, Anthony and Fred just waiting on the touchline. There we go. So Fred is on to replace Christian Eriksen. And Sancho is also off, and he is going to be replaced by Anthony. So those are the 2 Manchester United changes. And now just to bring you up to speed with the 2 Aston Villa changes. John Duran has come on, and he has replaced Alex Moreno. And Luca Digne has come on, and he has replaced Emiliano Buendia. So those, the 4 subs we just had in the last couple of minutes there, those subs 3 and 4 for Villa, of course, in this game. Those are the first 2 subs for Erik ten Hag's side, and they still lead by a goal to nil. 15 minutes to go in the second half, and United playing up from the back again. Marcus Rashford back in his own half. Fred, his first touch of the ball, sending out forward as Anthony just testing his legs a little bit there, and Villa able to gather that quite comfortably. So just getting a bit of fresh energy, I imagine, from Erik ten Hag on the pitch now for this last 15 minutes.
Yeah, I think when you see Villa making substitutions as well and trying to put a bit more attacking impetus into their front line, it's good to freshen it up and make sure that you're doing your job as well. So I think earlier just then Watkins probably should have had a free kick, but that's another example of Gillette trying to let the game go, and he has done that well today.
So Anthony, of course, was one of the players who was switched out of this Manchester United starting 11 today following that fight back from Tottenham on Thursday, where Manchester United let a 2-goal lead slip that evening. At the moment, Villa aren't showing too much that makes you feel that Manchester United are going to lose control of the lead here with 15 minutes to go here on 5 Sports Extra. But it only takes the 1, because they've only got the 1-goal lead at the moment, and it's sent forward by David De Gea in the Manchester United goal. Headed back by Chambers, picked up by Traore. He goes down under a challenge from Malacia, and that will be a Aston Villa free kick in their own half. Curtis Davis.
Yeah, though Manchester United have been the better team and had the better opportunities to extend their lead, you always worry that if you don't put those chances away and you're only 1-0, it's a difficult proposition, because, as I said, it can be a set piece, it could be a deflection, it could be anything that allows you in. And with Watkins in the form that he's in, he may only need that 1 chance. So it's important to make sure they wrap it up.
And Rashford now is on the ball in the Aston Villa half. That was the noise from the crowd there, because the touch wasn't quite what he wanted. And a little bit of frustration from them. I'm sure they're very aware, as Curtis is saying there, that they're only with the 1 goal. They don't want to let another lead slip. Newcastle have thought they had turned things around, by the way, at St James's Park, but they've had a second just ruled out in the last couple of minutes. Still Newcastle 1, Southampton 1. Still Fulham 1, Manchester City 2, and Bournemouth 3, Leeds 1. Bournemouth leads, Newcastle, Southampton. Available to listen online. Fulham, Manchester City, of course, on 5 Live Sport, and that will be followed by full commentary as well of Liverpool against Tottenham. That's the half-4 game today in the Premier League. Fred on the ball, midway through Aston Villa's half, very central. Luiz trying to dispossess him, but United get it out on the far side, and it's picked up again by Fred. Sent forward now. Bruno Fernandes straight at Martinez. And if you just perhaps directed that more towards Rashford, who was just in front of the Villa goalkeeper, that surely would have been a second for Manchester United, Curtis.
It's a great save in the way that he saved it. He's almost hooked it back towards it where it come from, knowing that if he spills it into the middle of the pitch, Rashford's there with a tap-in. So though the last one he thought he'd put it wide enough, and Bruno managed to get on it before the deflection, he's done fantastically there to push it back out where it came from.
A dangerous ball there from the left, from right for Manchester United. Anthony on the ball at the moment. Fred's picking up now, tries to get the cut back in, and it's cleared back to Anthony, and Casemiro now swerving it into the area. Villa tried to get their feet on it, just about do so, and then win a free kick in their own area there. Good work there from Konza once more.
Yeah, that's clever play, just gets across a bit and waits for the contact, pushes him over. But I think it's just an example of how much, one, that Manchester United rely on Rashford a lot. You know, I think he scored 44% of their, he's contributed to 44% of their league goals, and also, you know, it's only Villa and Fulham that have scored less than Manchester United in the top half. And, you know, as a team that are obviously chasing the Champions League and things like that, to have what I think it's a +8 goal difference they have at the moment, it's bizarre, really. You know, you're used to United having that 20 goal a season man, yes, but then he's backed up with a 10 goal a season person. So,
and Watkins here potentially with a chance here for an equaliser for Villa. He's still on the ball in the area now, gets it back more centrally, picked up by Douglas Luiz, blocked again by Manchester United. Second bite the cherry from Luiz, headed off the line there by Lindelof. Players go up again, still not cleared by Manchester United, and eventually it does go out. Dangerous moments here from United in the last 10 minutes or so of this game.
I do believe Watkins was offside in the first place, but how they haven't scored, it's great defending by Manchester United. You've got a save from De Gea, you've got a block by Lindelof on the line, and then at the end De Gea really brave again against Traoré. Traoré knocks him over and he gets the free kick, but it's some great defending. Sabitzer gets a block, Luiz, who looks like he had to score, Lindelof on the line, and David De Gea shows great bravery against Traoré.
Yeah, it's pegging about that Manchester United penalty area, and the United fans here are thinking, this feels familiar after Thursday night, after the Europa League tie against Sevilla. Are they going to hold on now? They've got 9 minutes plus stoppage time to do so, and Newcastle have now come from behind to lead at St James's Park against Southampton 2-1. They're leading that game. So Eddie Howe's side winning their game, doing their part to consolidate their place in the top four. Manchester United at the moment doing the same here, but living dangerously in the last 10 minutes of this game here on 5 Sports Extra. Villa sending it forward now to Traoré on the halfway line, now out on this right-hand side with Chambers. Now McGinn slips over in the turf and allows Fred a bite of the cherry, and then goes down, and that was Fred conceding the free kick there as he was battling with the ball there with John McGinn.
You're not getting around John McGinn in that situation. He's so strong. He's got some strong quads and glutes, so you're definitely not getting around him there. And I think Fred saw that once he tried.
Unai Emery absolutely furious on the touchline about something, and the free kick's taken by Villa by Luiz, and it goes too much on that, and Callum Chambers tried to keep that one in on this near side touchline, but was really going to find it difficult to do so, and a wasted opportunity there from a potentially good position from Aston Villa.
Yeah, it's a risk versus reward pass. It's even if Chambers is able to bring that down, what was he going to do with it? You know, it was a difficult ball. He managed to get it to him, but ultimately it was head high. It was such a difficult ball to deal with, and ultimately Manchester United get a throw and are able to now go on the attack.
They lose out though. Bruno Fernandes losing possession. He wanted a free kick, it's not given. John McGinn then goes down. Good battle developing in the last couple of minutes between him and Fred, and well, maybe they'll do something better with this free kick position. It's closer to the Manchester United goal than the one a minute or so ago. Again, Luiz is standing over it. This is probably about 40 yards out, just to the right of the D. So pretty central. And they need to make one of these set pieces count, don't they, Curtis? They've had plenty of good opportunities in good areas, Villa, but just not really been able to make the most of them.
I think when you've got the size that you've got compared to Manchester United, sometimes you just need to leave the ball in an area rather than trying to pick out somebody. Put it in an area, make Manchester United defending, and let one of your big guys attack it.
And Tyrone Mings, one of those big guys, is up there. He knows exactly where he wants this ball played. It is Luiz, sends it centrally in, headed just about clear by Manchester United, but they do look nervous. They do look like they are worried about conceding late on in this game, and they have conceded the corner as well on the far side to Villa.
It's a brilliant flick by Lindelof. He just gets ahead of, I think it was Konza, and gets the flick and sends it out for a corner. But again, 1-0 up, and they have to defend this to make sure they keep winning.
He's been really impressive, the Manchester United number 2 today, Victor Lindelof, clearing off the line a few minutes ago as well, when Villa looked certain to score an equaliser. Luiz taking this corner from the left and almost goes all the way in. There was just directed there in the cross as it came in, and then Manchester United do able to get it clear, and we've got a head injury here. Bruno Fernandes has gone down. Luke Shaw, and we're going to have a pause in play here. I think Chambers that almost directed that Aston Villa corner into the back of the net.
The irony of that is that Manchester United on the breakaway, I know it's a head injury and you have to stop the game, that's fair play, but Anthony has got 50 yards of space ahead of him with no one other than Martinez to attack, and you know, he would have had a clear run at goal. He would have probably scored, you would like to think. So unfortunately for him, it wasn't to be, but it is the right thing with a head injury to stop play.
And a couple of Manchester United substitutions here, and potentially quite a big one. Manchester United's club captain, Harry Maguire, coming in for the last 6 minutes rather, of this game. Anthony Martial coming on as well. And the two United players they are replacing are Sabitzer, who of course had a good chance as well in the first half of Manchester United, has shot just over the crossbar, and Marcus Rashford as well. And by his high standards, it's been a bit of a quiet afternoon for Marcus Rashford, but I guess the number of games that Manchester United have played since the World Cup, is tiredness starting to become a bit of a factor, do you think, as we reach the end of the season?
It will do, of course, but that's the standards at Manchester United. You know you're going to play 60 games a season, and you've still got your international games. So, but I just think a couple of chances he let get away from him. His touch was maybe just slightly off, or maybe took the wrong decision. But he caused problems all day for them, but unfortunately just didn't have the execution to get the goal that they needed.
And Traore is brought down there in Aston Villa's half rather, but referee thought that,
I believe it was Fred that got booked for kicking the ball away. So not even for the tackle. That
seems a bit of a silly yellow card for Fred to pick up. He's not really been on the pitch for very long. And the Manchester United sub, the first player to be cautioned in this game. So Villa going to take this free kick in their own half. Running out of time, Aston Villa, to get something from this game. Great unbeaten run under Unai Emery, stretching back 10 Premier League games. Honza on the ball at the moment, urging some movement from Villa players, and eventually feeds it to McGinn. But yeah, this 10-game run in the Premier League for Aston Villa, so impressive. Looks like it's coming to an end at the moment, with 3.5 minutes plus stoppage time to play here on 5 Sports Extra.
I wonder if Harry Maguire coming on is a sign of what they might expect. You know, you look at the Villa front line now, they're doing a front four against a back five for United. So they're trying to hold out, and obviously they want to make sure that the aerial challenges are met by Harry Maguire.
And the ball sent forward there by Villa, and then cleared back by Manchester United, back into the Aston Villa half. And sense of urgency here from Emi Martinez now. He's out of his area, ball at his feet, just the edge of the area now, and needing to send it forward. Unai Emery gesturing where he wants his keeper to play it from the touchline, sends it forward now, and there's a good battle there developing between Manchester United's defence and Duran there. Physical battle between him and Luke Shaw, and United pick up the ball again in their own half, and it's with Bruno Fernandes on this near side touchline, goes out for a throw-in.
Duran showed great strength, because the longer Martinez held onto the ball, the Manchester United back line just started dropping, and then he's just clipped one just around the halfway line. Luke Shaw tries to intercept it in front of him. Duran holds him off really well, but unfortunately for Duran, Harry Maguire is there with his big left foot to clear up the field.
Yeah, he's alongside Victor Lindelof now, so it's almost kind of a back centre 3-back pairing now. Manchester United the last couple of minutes of this game. Forward by McGinn, blocked and sent back by Luke Shaw for a throw-in on this near side touchline. Ten Hag almost on the pitch now, trying to tell his Manchester United players what he wants them to do. 90 seconds of the 90 remaining. Chambers with the throw-in on the halfway line, but poor ball straight to Casemiro. He sends it forward to Bruno Fernandes, but again, bit of a loose, heavy touch there, and Chambers able to gather again. Now it's with McGinn, and he goes down under a Bruno Fernandes challenge. And the game's just breaking up a bit now in the last couple of minutes of this game, but Villa need to get it forward. This is a kind of area of the pitch that Manchester United will be very happy for the game to be played in.
Yeah, Manchester United are in that stick or twist mode, and
McGinn sent it forward here to Chambers, just a yard or so outside the byline, blocked by Malacia. Be a throw-in for Aston Villa on this near side touchline, which there is some urgency now to take. We're into the final minute of the 90 here. Indications soon now coming up from the fourth official of how much stoppage time we're going to have in this match. Looks like it's going to be 4 minutes. Chambers with the run-up, takes the throw-in into the area. Casemiro goes down. Fred heads it back towards his keeper.
I think Casemiro makes a meal of that, but fortunately for Manchester United, they get away with it, and De Gea's got the ball in his hands. But as I was just saying, Manchester United are in that stick or twist mode where some players are still trying to get that second goal, and you see there Fernandes more wanted to keep the ball, and that's why the communication between him and Martial just didn't work out in that situation.
Kick taken by De Gea, headed back by Mings. Then Fred's involved as well. As a bit of a scramble with Digne for the ball. Manchester United have it now on the far side, and it is indeed going to be 4 minutes stoppage time at the end of this game. Nervy 4 minutes perhaps for United, but Aston Villa, after that moment where we thought they would find the equaliser, that goal line block from Lindelof, just haven't really been able to create that moment again. Digne on the ball on the far side. Now back on the halfway line with Mings. Louise in there as well. Konza as well, but now you can see that United has set themselves just to make their area of the pitch just so congested. With that back line, there's very little space for Aston Villa, and Chambers has it on this right-hand touchline. Back now with Traoré. It's marked by Malacia. Sends the ball to McGinn, edge of the D. Scotland man takes it back and sends it out to Digne on the far side. And his cross attempt is blocked there by Casemiro, goes up for an Aston Villa throw, just level the edge of the 18-yard box on the far side.
Yeah, Manchester United are using a back five, but they're very narrow. They're literally within the width of their box and inviting balls wide. So it's allowing Traoré to get onto it and Ramsey on the other side. But fortunately for them, Villa have just thrown the ball straight out of play for Manchester United to have a defensive throw in the right-hand corner.
Yeah, poor effort that throw-in from Digne on the far side for Villa. So Manchester United are going to take plenty of time. Watch the seconds tick by for them as they take this throw-in on the far side, and sent forward there by Shaw. Martial heading that one clear on the far side. And Aston Villa now are going to have to play this game out again from their own half. Just to let you know, there's Bournemouth has scored a fourth at home against Leeds, so big win for them at the bottom of the table. Into second minute of stoppage time in that game. Plenty of football still to come across the BBC, of course, this afternoon. Liverpool against Tottenham, commentary to come at 4:30, and worth mentioning as well as Manchester United now go on the attack on the right. Fernandes, ball at his feet, sends it now to Fred, edge of the area, now with Martial. Out on this left to Anthony. Is he going to get the second now? Goes one way, the other, and then the shot is straight at Martinez with very little power there, and perhaps could have done better with that. As then Duran there, he thought that he was challenged a little bit too heavily there by Luke Shaw, and then barges into the Manchester United man and is probably going to find himself penalised here. That was certainly some frustration there bubbling over for the Aston Villa player in stoppage time now.
Yeah, he felt he was being held by Luke Shaw, and he's probably got a case, but obviously once it's happened, it's not Luke Shaw's fault, it's just the ref's fault who made the decision. He goes and barges into Luke Shaw and inadvertently just gives them a free kick for no reason, and now Manchester United are just going to get the ball up the pitch, but it's wasting more time, it's stopping their momentum, and Manchester United will be totally happy with this because it's affecting Villa more than it is them.
My favourite moment after that is Casemiro kind of grabbing Luke Shaw by the shoulders and giving him a good shake as a well done for messing things up for Aston Villa going forward there. He's so passionate, Casemiro, for United, and Villa do win a free kick now, but it's way back in their own half, and John McGinn going to take this really quickly, sends it out to Mings, who perhaps wasn't expecting it because the ball forward from him wasn't a particularly good one, and Manchester United pick up possession again now on the far side in Villa's half with Bruno Fernandes, who goes down under a challenge. Villa pick up the ball again, and then Bruno Fernandes tries to get a foot in as Villa have the ball on the far side with Louise. Now forward with McGinn, midway through the Manchester United half, running out of time now. I make it 15 seconds or so to go in this game if Villa are going to get anything out of this game here at Old Trafford. 10-game unbeaten run in the Premier League coming to an end, and Traoré is brought down there, and that's going to be a free kick for Aston Villa in the last seconds of this game, just outside the area, a yard or two, just on the right of the D, and a yellow card there as well for the Manchester United player. Yeah,
plenty of needle in these last 2 minutes, to be fair. A lot of players barging into each other, having words with one another. It hasn't been that kind of game, but from that Duran challenge onwards, it's kind of made it that. Anthony was having a little bit of a word with Callum Chambers, but I think this will be the last chance for Aston Villa, so they need to make it count.
Yeah, and that was Malacia who was yellow carded, the Manchester United man, for the shirt tug on Traoré, and this is a decent opportunity. This is really probably it. I make it, we've played 40 seconds over the allotted stoppage time at the end of this game. So this certainly will probably be it now for Aston Villa in this game. 4 Villa players just kind of surrounding where they're going to take this free kick. It's sort of, as I say, just a couple of yards out from the edge of the D, probably about 22, 23 yards out. Digne, Louise standing over it. John McGinn's taken up that familiar role in the D that we see from him. I wonder if he's going to try another shot from distance. And Mings as well getting involved in this conversation here.
It's shooting distance, but I'm not sure the angle favours it. But I'd fancy Digne, but I think they're probably going to try and cross this.
So Digne's one of those players potentially taking it. He's now making the run up, but it's Louise that sends it in to the far post, headed clear by Lindelof. Back in again by Villa, blocked again. And that is the full-time whistle. And Martinez on the halfway line drops his face into his gloves in frustration, because it is the 1-goal lead. Ultimately his mistake when he palmed the ball out into Bruno Fernandes's path, and his shot then deflecting in off Moreno. That the 1 goal in this game, 6 minutes before half-time. And Manchester United have won here at Old Trafford by 1-0.
Yeah, it's a good end in the way that they defended. They were able to show a bit of more resolution than they did against Tottenham Hotspur. And they'll be proud of that. But at the same time, they want to see games like this out. It's, you know, the 1 goal and hanging on doesn't really work for them. They need to take chances that they have and take opportunities when they're dominating sides at Aston Villa. Aston Villa were buoyed by the fact that it was still only 1-0. They made plenty of substitutions, attacking substitutions to bring on the pitch, brought a fresh impetus. And unfortunately for Villa, they didn't get back into it. But good from Manchester United to see it out.
So that a first defeat in 11 in the Premier League for Aston Villa. I mean, they're still right in the European mix when we look at the table now as it stands. Manchester City going top of the table ahead of Arsenal because they are leading their game at Fulham at the moment. Newcastle coming from behind to lead against Southampton in third, now on 65 points, 2 ahead of Manchester United after winning this game today, and now on 63. But they do have a game in hand, Manchester United. Tottenham then on 54 points, so 9 points behind. Remember, they play in the half-full commentary at Anfield. 5 Live will have full commentary of that for you in the next 35 minutes or so. And then Villa in 6th on 54 points as well. So just behind Tottenham as it stands on goal difference. So well in the mix. But this run for them, Curtis, 10 games in a row in the Premier League without defeat. A fantastic run for them. Their best record in the Premier League for since 2011. I mean, there's so much they can take from that game, and I guess the challenge for them now is to build again after the setback. It
is. I don't think Unai Emery will dwell on this game too much. I don't think Manchester United tore them apart as such. Manchester United had some decent openings, but weren't constantly tearing them apart, and Martinez was making lots of saves. But he'll know that he wanted more from them with the ball to actually control the game, but also creating chances. They didn't create enough chances today. The chances they did get were from mistakes from Manchester United. But ultimately, like I say, they'll try and go on another run. The next game's against Wolves. They've got Tottenham, Liverpool and Brighton. So it's not going to be easy, with Wolves being a rival as well. But they'll give all they can, because if they do get into Europe, it's a bonus. It's an extra, I guess. But they'll just be happy that they're moving in the right direction, and they've got a great chance of pushing on in the future.
Bruno Fernandes, scorer of the only goal of the game today, just leaving the field, applauding the Manchester United fans in the stands here at Old Trafford. So Manchester United's unbeaten run at home in the Premier League continues. That stretches to 15 games in the Premier League here at Old Trafford. It consolidates their place in the top 4 as well. They have won here by 1-0. Now, thanks to Curtis Davis, been joining us here today on 5 Sports Extra. As I say, it's finished 1-0 to Manchester United over Aston Villa here, but plenty more of live sport to come now on 5 Sports Extra as we switch sports, and we're going to join BBC Radio Devon for second half commentary of La Rochelle against Exeter in the European Rugby Champions Cup semi-finals.